Amazing, man. Hey, Shen, I think they said they can't hear you right now. So make sure everything is good to go on the stream. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they can't hear
oh
you right
no,
now.
oh no.
Got to
Let's
go
have
through the whole intro again.
a all right, all right. Oh, sugar. Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello, hello. Now we
Let us
can hear
know.
you.
Yeah,
Oh
there you
man,
go.
oh man. I
It's
forgot to mute myself on OBS.
hey, there's a lot of great announcements.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, right, okay. Well, I'm just gonna make this really quick. I'm gonna make this really quick, guys. Okay, so all right. So first of all, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the FGC Designers Podcast. I'm Esmond, aka Shen. In the world of gaming, so I also work as a I work for Booking.com as a UX UI designer. And outside of my job, I'm a lead designer of the UK and EU division of UYU. So this channel is different to your usual gaming channels. So instead of tailing for pro gamers, content creators, this is more tailored for the visionaries and the creative members within the esports industry. So that could include graphic designers, illustrators, video editors, voice actors, photographers, etc., etc. And because we're all creative people, we play a huge part in helping establish these big brands within gaming, but also outside of it as well. So we'd like to give a big shout out to Nicola Yao, who did my awesome illustration. I'd like to give a big shout out to Rick the Hado for his words of wisdom, but also he was going to do Combo Breaker this weekend, but unfortunately it's not going to happen due to COVID-19. And he also helped set this up between Markel Lee and myself. So thank you, the Hado, Rick, for setting this up. Not only that, we'd like to thank you, the FGC designers, the Discord channel, for their continued support and helping grow this channel. So big love to you guys. Last but not least, I'd like to give a warm welcome to Markel, the CCO and the co-founder of AOE Creative. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, man. It's pretty great. I also got to give a shout out to Rick as well. Definitely giving the introductions. The man has been hustling. I really love all the work that he's done, especially within the fighting game community. And definitely glad to see him, put in more and more work into the community and hope the best for him, especially with all the stuff going on right now. But
yes.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, so I'm really sad this today because I actually bought flights to go to Chicago and go to Combo Breaker. So I'm still waiting for my refund at the moment from the flights, not from the event itself. I just said to Rick, look, just keep the tournament entry fee and the venue entry fee. That's my way of supporting Combo Breaker. But unfortunately, I'm trying to get the refund of my flight. I don't know how long that's going to be, but I'm really sad. It's really depressing because I had this whole weekend planned out, but it's definitely not happening now.
I mean, it's so much, so many good tournaments that are on shutdown now, which is real sad, especially, again, all around in esports in general, that we're going to unfortunately miss this year. And it does bother me too, and makes me sad a little bit because of the fact that a lot of the fighting game stuff is grassroots and out of pocket. So it really hurts the TOs a lot. I really hope that a lot of the major tournaments and even the smaller tournaments can bounce back from this. But definitely interested in seeing, what they can do next year. And, shoot, if there's opportunities where we can help, definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. So how's quarantine life treating you right now, besides the FGC?
I mean, I'm good. I'm good right now. With family, been enjoying that time with family for the most part. But it's been extremely busy, to be honest with you, on our side of things. Mainly because design never stops. This is the perfect opportunity since everyone is on social media
Correct.
to promote and get your brand out there properly, especially in this time where people are just at home and they need some type of entertainment or something else to distract them from all the other drama that's going on at this time.
I agree. Now is the perfect time to be distributing a lot of quality content because everyone's at home watching Twitch now, watching YouTube. They have nothing else to do. They can't really go out, so this is the opportunity for you to really get your content out there. And I think it's a good opportunity for designers as well, like for such as myself. Now that I'm starting to see people wanting to grow their channels, it's giving me an opportunity to start designing more stream overlays for people and and helping them design their content. So for me, it's a good thing. But obviously, for people that are working that are not able to work from home, with the technology and stuff like that, they like nurses and stuff like that. You kind of feel sorry for them. Like it's impacting my family a lot, that work in restaurants and stuff. They own restaurants, and them being closed is really impacting business and on our finances. So
sure. I spoke to a couple people, and definitely have my well wishes to them and everyone else. And I have family that some that are having to work right now through all this mess. Some that are doctors, some that are soldiers, some that are even on the police force. Like it's a lot going on right now, and definitely hope the best for them. But yeah, as a designer, it's just been nonstop because everybody wants something to do. It's even to the point where if you didn't have a camera or a mic before, you were kind of SOL when all of this went down because everyone bought it all out of every store that they can get as soon as everybody found out we were going to be on quarantine. So yeah, it's been a crazy time for sure.
Yeah. So has it impacted your company at all?
Yeah. So for AOE, it's been, like I said, it's been extremely busy.
Oh, that's good. That's
good. It's been really great. So what the companies that we're working with right now, Blizzard and Activision, we're helping them out with the Overwatch League socials as well as the Call of Duty League socials, which are definitely a major priority right now, especially with the fact that there's no live events. So that is something that we correlate and make sure it's run properly with our team outside of just, of course, the design work that we've done. We've even created the in-game team sprays for the Overwatch League teams.
Nice.
So yeah, it's definitely like a hustle and grind. Working with a couple other companies. One that very interested in is like a new game developer that's looking to potentially be a AAA when they launch. And working with them and helping them out, even with like in-game UI UX type stuff, which is
awesome.
Been very, very interesting.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like you're working with a lot of big names, so that's really good. Yeah. So that leads me to my first question about you. So tell us about yourself, about AOE Creative. So how did you co-found this company? How did it all start off, and how did it come about?
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, shout outs to Rick because he knows that coming from the FGC, when we get opportunities, we take advantage of them, especially within this space. But yeah, man, I've been a designer for a little bit over like 15 years and in the gaming esports industry for roughly around 10. I'm a big shooter, so I came from like Call of Duty, Halo type era of things. That was an interest for me. But I had a lot of friends that were in the fighting game community, and I always loved watching that community grow and get better and do more. And so I ran into local groups, and that's how I got my way into esports, kind of jumping into that group. Rick knows me from Absolute Battle, doing the production side for that event. When he was running, I was working with Pendex Gaming at the time.
Nice.
And because of our production skills at that time, that's what got us to work with Rick on other different events, as well as Bailey and the rest of them. So we worked at Evo, CEO, Combo Breaker.
Oh wow!
Down,
that's an impressive portfolio, man.
Yeah, man. We production with them, and that helped me get into more interesting positions where I was working with more influencers, working with other teams like Evil Geniuses as well, and end up getting picked up by Infinite Esports as the creative director for that.
Wow.
And they end up owning, the Optic Gaming, Houston Outlaws, and they
Yeah.
had like 10 other companies under their umbrella.
Yeah.
And that's where I met my business partner, Simon Bennett, who came from the UK, and his background was working from Blizzard to working with World of Tanks, to going to Razer, to going to Face It, and working with the UK government to actually bring esports to UK. So he came in as the VP of marketing. I was the creative director, and we noticed that we worked like real well together. And from there, we was doing all the stuff like building the Houston Outlaws from scratch.
Nice.
And then once we started building a portfolio for ourselves, other people wanted to work with us, but we were under Infinite at the time. And because we were under Infinite, we already had their own teams and their own businesses, it was hard to work with that. So once we ended up leaving Infinite, we created AOE Creative. That way we could work with any and everyone, and kind of help the esports community gain more exposure and market properly, and eventually get more non-endemic sponsors to be involved the correct way within the space.
That's awesome. Wow, that I can't express how amazing your portfolio would be. You've got a really lot of good names under your belt, especially within the world of esports and the FGC, especially when you're working like under Evo and the Jabele CEO and stuff like that. These are all big FGC names, and that's amazing. Like
I loved it, man. I really did. Like it's hard work. I mean, the fighting game community, because again, it's not the money there yet, but the love and the passion, like that community is different, man. It's so much different in any of the other top tier esports events, right? Like even they will let you know, like the fighting game energy is just, there's none other like it. You go to an Evo and you feel that electricity in that stadium, right? You feel that in the crowd. You feel that even after the matches when people money matching in the rooms, right?
I agree. Yeah.
That's just, nothing else can compare to that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, when I watch like games like League of Legends and stuff like that, I mean, it's quite hard for me to tell what's going on. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot for me to take in. But like, when I got my parents to watch Evo, because they have no clue about games and stuff like that, but at least they understood what's going on with Street Fighter 5. They're like, they understand it was two people trying to kill each other's energy, trying to deplete each other's life. So they understood that element. But like I know sometimes the FGC can be in some ways quite toxic, when it comes to patches and balances and stuff like that with games. But I heard like other areas of esports, like the FGC is nothing compared to how toxic other areas are. I don't know how true is that, because I'm not experienced it with other games, like League of Legends or anything like that. But people warned me, if you install League of Legends, just be prepared. And I was like, oh, okay.
My friends do the same. I don't play League, and I was like, I probably should try to learn. They're like, well, first, do you have 200 hours? Secondly, you might talk bad on in every match because you don't know what to do correctly. I mean, every community has their own toxicity, right?
Of course.
It really doesn't change no matter where you are. There's going to be some people being toxic about the game, about the community or the people, or somebody in there spamming something that's is causing an issue. But we all love games. We all understand. It's still our love for video gaming, and of course competitive scene that has us here and has us growing.
Yeah. Are you playing any FGCs at the moment? Any fighting games yourself?
And as long as I've been in the fighting game community, I'm just trash at fighters. It's not a bad thing. I mean, I'm if you want to give me like the little bit of bump above the average, so I understand what needs to happen. That doesn't mean I can fully execute it. I actually love watching it, and I love supporting more than anything. Like I even at one point co-owned a arcade, and I love building the community, especially here in Dallas. and help promote them so that they had a platform, to potentially get sponsorships. I love just watching and enjoying the matches more so than playing, but I do try. It just, I guess I have to tell you another time where I got like completely destroyed by Hungry Box at a party in LA, but that was fun.
Oh wow, yeah. We'll save that story for later then, shall we? Yeah. Okay, so so what is your role within the business then, within your AOE Creative? Like, what does a typical day-to-day look like for you?
Yeah, so I am the CCO.
Yeah.
For that, I work on the creative side of things for the most part, and Simon works on the marketing. But of course, we both work hand in hand. A typical day, I'm working with the full team. I have a design team under me, and we have a marketing team as well, and a social team. Social team usually works with the marketing side. I work more with the creative and design. And so I need to facilitate those projects between the two, right?
I see.
So typically through my day, a lot of the time is making sure a lot of things are going down the pipeline correctly, that we're being realistic on time frames, with the different designs, because if you talk to a client, they want it yesterday, right?
That's very familiar to me as well. Yeah. What is it?
Exactly.
Where is it?
So you have to build those realistic expectations, especially when you have huge major clients like Call of Duty League and Overwatch League. We got to make sure that we're taking care of them, because especially during this whole chaos, which is the quarantine and the coronavirus scare, everything has changed, right? You don't have your offline events anymore. You can't go to those events and actually participate. So a lot of people are playing online, which changed everything in the way things need to be scheduled and played, and the matches to be done online. So we have to, of course, understand that there's going to be times where we have to just jump on the ball, right? Hey, we need something right now, and we just kind of have to get on top of that on certain projects. But you do try to work on those expectations. The last part of my day will be design, which may happen after work hours for me, so that I can make sure my team is taken care of, and then me to go back behind things and actually get that peace to sit down and work without having to get thrown into a meeting,
Yeah. So would you say you're quite hands-on with your creative team?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
100. I love design. Like, it's a different position for me now, since I am one of the owners of the company. So I have to be a little bit more front-facing, but I do want to just dive deep into design. You get that zone where you start creating something, and you're like, yo, this is it right here. And so you spend another 4, 5, 6 hours like just going into it, like, yo, this is nice. Like I just can't stop. I got to keep going.
Yeah.
I'm in that mode, and I don't want to be stopped. And I can't get away from that,
Yeah, you go into that vortex, don't you? Like I was in that vortex last night when I was like doing some stuff for UYU. And because I got so into it, just trying to create something, like, oh, this really works. Yeah, I'm gonna polish this a little bit. And before I know it, it was like 11 p.m. and I'm not even eaten. And I'm like, oh, great, I'm not eaten yet, and it's past my bedtime. It happens a lot to me, especially when you're in the zone and stuff like that. So I call it the design vortex, or what you call it.
Tunnel vision for sure, man.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just gonna reflect what you're saying. UYU had to take a pivot as well. Like we had a lot of events lined up. A lot of players, the pro players, had them all lined up for all the Tekken World Tour event, but unfortunately, due to COVID-19, a lot of the events have now been cancelled, and now we're really pivoting towards online content. So we're just like basically focusing on online tournaments, team tournaments and stuff like that, team events, online events, podcasts, and this is where we sort of changed our direction. But at least it's like it's not bad. We kind of like got a direction that we can work towards, and we're still trying to keep things active despite not having any events. And I think we're doing a good job of that. And I think it's really important that we stay on top of it, especially at these difficult times.
Most definitely, yeah. I mean, okay, with all the stuff that's pivoting, we have to make a change, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to adapt. And as designers, we're used to it, especially when you got to work with certain different clients. it's like, hey, you got to make this stuff happen, right? It's done. And so in this industry, if you're not flexible, I mean, you'll lose out easily.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because you have to be able to make changes and adjust to what the client wants quickly, effectively, and doing it the right and correct way.
Yeah, being adaptable is really important. Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, you probably answered this question just before. So basically, this question is basically, how long have you been in the design industry? And you told me you've been in the design industry for just over 15 years. 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been within the industry of esports?
Yeah, like I said, so that's been a little bit over the 10 years. And that's mainly because, like I said, I've always wanted to I tried to create my own team at one point.
Yeah.
Because, why not? And who didn't try at some point? You know some people that play online all the time that are really good.
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah.
like I'm a designer. I know I'm not a pro, but you are good enough. I just want to design, market, and promote. And so I tried it out. It didn't really work. And then I started working, like I said, I got into it on a local level and started helping out with more of like a regional event, which was Absolute Battle, which didn't have much at the time. And I started working with Pendex Gaming, who, me and him worked together for production side of things. He knew how to do the technical aspects of it, and I knew how to pull the creative part out of it. And so with a 3-man team, we were making production look like we spent 6 figures when we honestly had 3. So like making it work with what you had.
Yeah. My God.
And yeah, like biting the bullet a little bit. Like, I mean, again, we work at these major events, and anybody can tell you, Rick can tell you, Jabali can tell you. I mean, there's no sleep when you're at these events, especially when you're making it with what you have and what's coming out your pocket. Again, working with the guys with KIT, we wanted to help those guys out too. And like, we want to make this event something special. So Saturday night, it's only me, Panda, one other person working stream. We want to do top 8 player cards. Who's gonna take the photos? I guess I'm gonna step off, and now I gotta round up everybody who made top 8 and take a photo and crop them out the same night, and pretty much don't go to sleep and just run top 8 tomorrow. Like, it is what it is, but those moments is kind of what you need, like, or at least was times that I will always remember, because I understood the grind and the hustle and the lack of resources and how to make it into something else. And I mean, it's what we give to clients now. It's like, hey, I mean, I understand that they telling you can make a tournament and you got to spend $1 million on it, but you technically don't. You can learn from other communities that you can make stuff with a lower budget.
Yeah. Get community members on board, and then they can help you establish that tournament. I remembered running a major in 2014 called Warriors Return 3. It was sponsored by both Capcom and Namco at the time. I spent, let's say, probably half a year preparing for that tournament, preparing for that event, whether it be designing the website for it, the branding, all the promotions. I even designed the trophies, as far as that, even the event space, how the event space will look, where the stream's going to go. And then on the actual day, there was a water leak at the venue, and it caused, a lot of electricity not being functional. So a lot of the plugs at the venue were not functional. So we only could use half of the setups that we were able to use. And it doubled our workload. Literally, I did not eat or sleep. I literally had to run the stream, run the brackets, manage the team. It was horrible. It was like probably one of the most, like, I spent half a year preparing for this, really looking forward to it, and then it just turned out like this disaster has really impacted the event. However, a lot of people walked away from it having a good time. They all had a good time. We made do with what we had, and we managed to mission through the brackets somehow. I don't know how we did it. We managed to mission through it. Like, when you're just working hard trying to get through everything, you lose track of time. And before we know it, we managed to get through everything all on time. you know, and it was a great feeling, you know, like having that done, you know, having that event finished and boxed off. But the problem was, like, I kind of thought to myself, I don't think I want to go through that experience again, going through that trauma, that stress on the day. So which is why, like, I kind of focused more on small events at the time, and then just kind of, like, you know, got a team to help run the small events instead. But yeah, majors is a different ball game. I don't think.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Every event is fire. There's always something that's wrong at every event. The idea is how well you can make it look like nothing bad is happening.
Exactly. It's trying to cover it up. Covering it up is going to be the hard job, isn't it?
It's always the case. Every event I play was in, something was wrong. And like I said, I'm sure all POs will be able to let you know any of their horror stories and how they managed to make it work. But it's when you're done, you feel so accomplished, right?
Definitely.
When you're all said and done, you finish. Everyone had a great time. You put on a great production, and even though you know all the little mistakes that you made during that time, you look back at it, and a lot of people didn't even realize it, or they didn't dwell on it. Like, they enjoyed their time, and that's what makes it worthwhile, right? When you get done with it. Like, man, that was nice. Even though I didn't sleep for 3 days, but you know, to me, it felt worth it. You know,
it was so hard to hide my stress. Like, literally, I had a vein popping out like this. You know, I was like, everyone's all right. Yeah, it's all good.
I think about that when it's like and all the brackets. It's like, man. They have a system, though. They have a system.
Running brackets was also a nightmare. I hate running brackets, man. It's like, you know, it's chasing people. Like, where's player one? Player one, you know, you have 5 minutes. And
you disqualify me, bro? Where you
it's like, I was having a toilet break. I was getting some food. You know. Oh, man.
To go pee, bro.
Yeah. Why you do me like that, bro? I paid for this. I paid for this experience. Yeah. Man. So, right. This brings me to my next question. So, what was it about esports or gaming that made it as the primary focus of AOE? So what is it about gaming or the FGC that really made it like the primary focus for you and the company?
So for us, AOE Creative, we noticed that there's no endemic ad agency within the gaming esports space. A lot of times, teams will either work internally or get some freelancers to work with them. Or if they do have some money or like a developer or whatever, they'll go outside and find a established agency to work with in order to promote themselves. And also what we've noticed is a lot of times agencies outside of gaming and esports don't know gaming and esports.
Yeah, they don't understand the audience. The audience.
And so they end up doing stuff that doesn't resonate with the gaming audience. Like, what we tell people all the time is the gaming community has a high bullshit meter, right? Like, pretty much anything you bring that's going to come to the gaming community is already deemed as, this is BS. Like, I don't trust it. I don't believe they're here for a genuine cause, right? And usually when these other agencies come in, they don't promote properly or market properly within the space, or they tell sponsors to do things that don't actually benefit them and just let them lose money.
Right. Got you.
So all of us, like I said, I came from the fighting game community and then started working with other high tier esports teams. Outside of that, Simon came from more of the developer side or the big industries that done major events. And he understands how, you know, that market works and that demographic works. And so we decided to create AOE Creative to bridge that gap of, we are gamers, we came from this industry. Majority of the people on our staff have been involved in esports in some sense. Like, we have commentators, we have team social media employees as well, like people who've worked with other major esports teams, people who have a like major love for a game and have either worked with that game or created like communities and channels within those games to help promote. Like, we're really big about picking people that understand the community. Because we want to be able to speak their language, and we want to help non-endemic brands come into this space properly, and do it right. Like, don't come in and just throw money. That's never going to work.
No.
People see right through that, right?
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, they came in, oh, they bought Ninja and they got advertisers for Ninja. Like, okay, sure, yeah, you'll run some numbers, you'll get some stuff back because you got the highest streamer right now. But at the end of the day, you're not going to build that brand loyalty and trust, or people come back to you and say, hey, I want their stuff and their products because they actually care about our community. And it's something that we speak to a lot of different businesses about, and there's certain people that we're trying to work with right now that I can't discuss, but it's like explaining that to them as, show your authentic. Like, don't come in here and just try to expect to get money. And it's just it's that learning process. And so for AOE Creative, that's something that's important to us, is helping grow and build the gaming esports community, and do it hopefully, like, get these companies to understand where their budget can go. Like, something that's really, really strong for me and what I would like to do, even my business partner and the rest of the team, is get someone to properly, like a huge non-endemic sponsor, to properly activate in the fighting game community. Because it's unusual, like, it's untapped into. And I feel like a lot of sponsors are afraid to jump into that community. One, because they don't understand it. It's the most diverse, and they don't know how they feel like they can market to this community. Plus, they see the high tier esports teams like League of Legends or Overwatch League or Call of Duty League or CSGO and go, I guess we're supposed to be here. But for that $1 million that you put into League of Legends, you're probably gonna get like what, a minute or two on the stream. When for that $1 million in the fighting game community, you probably can hold the whole circuit. Like, you can pretty much own that circuit and do it properly, right? And that's something that I want to help a non-endemic sponsor get involved in. So it is something that we try to advocate for, but of course it comes down to your client and what they want to do and what they feel is necessary for them.
Man, you're so inspiring. I love it. I love how community driven you are about, the people in esports, especially with your clients. And as you said, there are agencies, really good advertising agencies, and you go to them, they may not understand the gaming audience, because the majority of the people that work in advertising agencies are like very commercial, very on trend, if you get what I mean. And then basically the gaming community is quite niche in some way, but however, it's like what I do find with a lot of marketing or creative agencies, that they don't seem to understand the gaming demographic. All they think about is like PewDiePie or Ninja. Do you know what I mean? But they don't understand like the FGC or the the COD community, the Gears of War community. All they think about is like, the top YouTubers or the top streamers, like PewDiePie or whatever,
they like say, oh yeah, they're esports, and it's like, no, not all influencers that stream are esports. It's not like gamers, and that's nothing wrong with that, but you need to understand the difference between a gamer that's streaming and an esports streamer. Like, those are different things, and it's, again, educating these companies properly, which again another agency won't do, because they won't know the difference. They'll just bottle everything together, and we all know every genre is different. I mean, fighting game community is different from the mobile community, is different from the shooter community, and then we all know under those are sub communities, because in the fighting game community, just because you're in the fighting game community don't mean that Street Fighter isn't different than Tekken, which is different than Smash, which is different than anime fighters, right? But they don't understand that, and they don't know that, and they don't understand that you have to market to them differently, and you have to come at both all different groups at different angles if you want to, tell them, I'm here to actually support you properly.
I agree. And I remember back in the day, like, if I told my parents that I'm actually, making money, doing gaming or some sort, they would not have believed me. I mean, I wouldn't even believe it myself if I was actually involved with, making money or receiving some form of income within gaming, designing for gaming companies and stuff like that. People would be laughing, right? And gaming used to have like a really perception, like, it's for nerds, it's just a hobby and stuff like that. But there's actually it's boomed so much in general gaming, you know, and you know, but you also see on like newspapers or magazines and stuff like that gaming influences violent behavior or influences like some incidents and stuff like that, and they just thought, oh yeah, let's just blame gaming, you know, because oh there's like a mass shooting in a school or something, oh it's because this kid played this game on the copy of Call of Duty or something like that. It's
always got to be a scapegoat, right?
yeah, exactly.
So I mean, you have to understand that's going to come, but I mean, we all know there's a whole bunch of good stories too within the fighting game community.
Yeah, exactly.
And the stuff that I've been involved in, it's just, you know, you see that local cat that comes over to the arcade and then something happens to him and the whole community rises up to take care of them, right? Like GoFundMe to make sure that they're taken care of and that they're safe and they're good. I mean, we've all seen those stories. I mean, and you all also have those opportunities where you are online and you meet those friends that you've never seen before, and y'all keep that relationship throughout the years, and eventually you might even get the opportunity to hang out with them in person, right? And those relationships usually to some people are stronger than, you know, even their own blood family, right? And so I mean, it's the media. I mean,
Well, the media just overgeneralizes everything, to be honest with you, which is why I don't really read newspapers, especially in the UK, because I can never tell what is the truth. So I normally just like find my own evidence or research if I want to find out about a particular issue. But you know, I don't like painting anything with the same brush. That's the kind of person I am. You know, there's no difference to generalization or racism or prejudice at all. So, but yeah. So like, whenever I read an article about, you know, oh, gaming is involved with this incident, I'm just like, well, no, I don't think it is. I just literally just bin it. You know, I don't believe in it. Yeah. So, which brings me to my next question. Now that we spoke about the evolution of gaming, we spoke about the perception of gaming. Like, what is your favorite project that you worked on in gaming within AOE?
So I mean, it's kind of tough because I mean, I know a lot of designers say that, but it's honest because there's a lot of things that we're working on that are extremely exciting, right? That again, like working with the Immortal Sunsphere Games, which is creating their own video game. They're creating a new RTS. Is interesting. Like, I mean, I haven't really played RTS like that, but I'm always interested in learning more about other people's genres. And it's something that I'm learning every day. And plus, some of the people on our team are really big fans. So the stuff working with that has been amazing because we get the opportunity to build a game from scratch. A game from scratch that could be a major hit later. So it's like, you know, when you create a design, like your first design, and you put it on Twitter and stuff, and the company start using it, you're like, look, I made that, right?
Yeah.
And then when you make your first shirt or whatever, and then you start seeing it around, and you start seeing people wear it after events and stuff, you're like, yeah, I made that shirt, that's cool. And then it cuts over to like, yo, I'm actually in an opportunity where I can build my own, like the first graphics inside of a game. You say, yo, I helped build all of that, like that. That right now for me is really exciting in that sense. I think a lot of the team that we have is came from Infinite too as well. So one project that holds true to my heart a lot is building the Houston Outlaws from the ground up. Because we, you know, worked with Overwatch League to work on the logo, to look, feel, style, and everything else. And the reason why that holds a special moment to me is because definitely building that brand, but creating the campaign behind that brand was amazing. Because again, you can't tell, I really have a passion for community.
Yeah.
And everybody on my team has a passion for community. And for me, design is more than social media.
Yeah, definitely. Solving a problem, isn't it? Problem solving.
But it's for the fact that, you know, in the gaming esports community, I feel like there's a lack of doing things outside of digital.
Yes.
That we should be doing a lot more outside of that. And it's just because a lot of people don't know about it or think about it as much when they think about building a brand. When you think about building a brand, most people go, okay, logo, look and style of like social headers and posts. And it stops right there. Or like stream graphics. It'll stop at those three, right? And it's like, no, man, there's so much more you can do. And so with the Houston Outlaws, outside of creating the logo and saying, all right, Houston Outlaws, we're gonna go black, green, and white because of Optic Gaming, since it was from that. And we want this to feel as Texas as possible because it's the first time that an esports team regionalized where they had a city. And a lot of people weren't sure if that was going to work. So me from Texas, I'm from Dallas though, but from Texas, I understand our pride. And we have a extreme pride about Texas, and everything's bigger here and how we feel about our own state compared to others. And we want to make sure that's implemented in what we create for the Houston Outlaws. And it's about, at that moment in time, taking the brand and saying, how can we make this resonate with all the people in Houston? And how do we give back to the community and show them that we care? And so we did the first ever watch party for the Houston Outlaws. We did like a watch party since they were playing in LA. They had all the teams in LA. They weren't playing locally. So we did a watch party. We had like 600 people show up. This is the first match ever for Overwatch League. And it was like, wow, we was able to do that. So we created the Band Together campaign after seeing that community. And for us, that meant Band Together. It was Houston Outlaws, but Houston Outlaws represented Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, which 3 different cities in Texas since it's so large. And so we wanted all those groups to build a fan base in each city, and we helped promote them. So we sent them posters that were tied to each city that represented each city, because we know each city kind of has its own style and flavor.
Look and feel, right?
Yeah. Houston is known for NASA and the Rockets. We made a rocket poster of the Houston Outlaws. San Antonio is known for the Riverwalk. We made a poster with the Riverwalk.
Nice.
Austin is known for 6th Street. We made a poster that came from the mural that's on 6th Street. We created buttons and all these icons. We created like wristbands that meant something for each city. We created lanyards and all that stuff. We built like physical stuff, and we gave it out at watch parties. So if you went to Houston watch party, you got something different than if you went to Austin watch party and San Antonio watch party. So it's like, hey, if you're ever in the city, go hang out with your Austin fans. Go hang out with your Houston fans. Go hang out with San Antonio, and then y'all can max ideas or like stuff like posters and everything, so that y'all can get the whole collection for those who are really interested.
You're giving them an incentive to visit other cities, right? You know what I mean? So like it becomes a collectible, you know, like you know, it gives an incentive to go to another place to get this this rare merchandise even. So I think that was a really clever idea to try and get other people going to different places.
It was hype, man. It made me feel great because we actually was able to do something more than just digital. And we built the fan bases. And outside of that, we had the first ever block party for any esports team, where we took over a whole block in Houston. We put a mural. I had like a graffiti artist paint the wall.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, like it was like we created the first, like, well, I'm not gonna say first, but we created a pop-up shop where we had exclusive merch within that space at that same place. And we had like a huge jumbo screen. So people driving down the street were like, what the hell is that? Like, and then we created the first ever player tour that hit multiple cities, where we had like 1,000 people each city come to see the Houston Outlaws when they were on bye week. And like we were able to build that community. And what was great was hearing the fans go, yo, I've never had this. Like Texas and Houston has a very huge fan base that's big on sports, because they have huge sports teams there. And a lot of people were coming to us and saying, hey man, I actually love that this is here, because now I have something that resonates to me that I can represent. Similar to like a football team, but now I have a esports team that means something to me and I can get hype about. So that on an emotional level was more like one of my favorite projects ever that I've ever worked on.
That's amazing, man. That's what a story. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There's no point in me telling you my story. I don't think it'll live up to that.
I didn't mean to do that.
So Shen, what did you work on then? Yeah, I just did some stuff for UYU that. Yeah, I had a few like 7K viewers. That's it. You know what I mean? Not like a bloody party. You know what I mean? And different cities, different merchandise. My God, you know, I would dream to work on something like that. That'd be awesome.
Oh man, it was definitely my dream. I mean, it comes in real quick to the stuff I did with Absolute Battle, but it all to be the top one, and then followed by that. But it's more because I'm proud of it because, I mean, as designers, as all of us, we know how hard it is to get a budget.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Totally and agree. There's so much creativity that all of us can do if we just had the budget to do so.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to have that one. And so I didn't take, I don't take that for granted. And I understand that, like, it was just a great opportunity, and we took we had full range to do almost whatever we wanted to at the time, which made it amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Jeez. So, like, are most of your clients mainly within esports then? Is that like the only area you guys work in, or do you work in other areas as well? You know, like another
we work outside. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. I was just like asking, like, is it just esports, or do you have other businesses that come to you, like a corporate business will come to you for work? Would you accept that, or does it have to be like within esports that you accept that client?
Yeah, so we worked with multiple different clients. Most of the stuff is in esports because that's where we have.
Yeah, that's what you specialize in. Yes.
Yeah, like I said, I have my connections. Simon has his connections. He's honestly the reason why we know a lot of the big name developers and publishers.
Yeah.
And then I know a lot of the grassroots and some of the teams and stuff like that. But we've worked with other groups outside of that. Like I said, right now we're working with a developer that, they want to do esports eventually, but that is there. We worked with a football league that was trying to just up and running, so we was working behind the scenes with them. We worked trying to think of a few others, but I mean, we done some corporate stuff as well. We like to specialize in esports and gaming for the most part, but we do also branch out because at the end of the day, we do specialize in this generation entirely. So a lot of the biggest problems that a lot of companies are having now is they don't know how to talk to the younger demographic. That's what we work with. Being in gaming and esports, you understand that demographic. And so we do advertise for that. And there's a couple other companies like, there's a few that I can't talk about that I want to. Because they see the stuff that we've done before and they were very interested in the work that we've created. They know that we know what we're talking about and we can give them good insight. So we're definitely looking to, again, build and grow outside of just esports. But our love and passion is this community, and we do want to see it prosper and grow and become, again, like an NFL, like an NBA, like a FIFA, we wanted to see it get to that point. And we know that with a lot of sports people wanting to get involved, everybody now is a guru of esports, even though they haven't been esports. And a lot of people are consulting companies the wrong way,
Right. Oh, interesting. So that leads me to my next question. Now that you worked on these amazing projects, now we know what kind of projects you work on. What is exactly your creative process? So let's say like you've been given a brief. I want to rebrand. I've got an esports group. I want to do a rebrand. What is your creative process? Do you have like a structured process in AOE, or do you give like creative freedom to your designers?
Oh no, we definitely go through the process. Something that's really big with us. And something that we usually tell, especially when we do any full rebrand, which, to be honest with you, most of our projects have started off with this, is the creative brief.
Okay.
And we've done a lot of creative brief projects with people, and we're waiting on them to move forward with the next piece of the project. Okay. Because a lot of people don't think about their brand entirely until after it's live, right?
Right. Okay.
So what we do with our creative process is we go through the creative brief. We've noticed that within gaming and esports, a lot of people want to just look cool, and there's no
Yeah,
real.
I can imagine that. Like, I'm trying to think of how would an esport group give you a brief. Like, what is a typical brief from an esport group? Like, I can understand some of them may say, I like Evil Genius, I love 100 Thieves, I want to look like them. So
Exactly.
so like, how do you tackle like a brief that is quite vague like that?
Yeah. So for us, like I said, we talk to a lot of esports teams, and it's crazy. Even the top tier esports teams have the same issue of we don't know. Yeah, Comic Sans.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. It's like ASAP Marco saying Comic Sans and a mascot. Someone kick this guy. Someone kick this guy.
But so basically, most esports teams, even the top esports teams, say, "Hey, we really don't understand our own brand. Like, we don't know. We created this logo, we created this style. We don't know exactly what it means. Like, we don't have a reasoning why we chose this name or the logo that works with it. It looked cool at the time, but now we need to figure out how to take that further." And so for us, we say, cool. All right, we go through a creative process. And it's like, what is that? The creative brief. For us, the creative brief goes before you touch any design.
Yeah, of course.
And it's a good week or two with the client, so we can get on the same page with them, understanding, you know, what we do or what they do, what they want to do, how they want to be seen, how they want to be perceived, and how they want people to take all their content and, you know, what they want them to feel about it.
Yeah.
So it's like look, feel, style. But what other people don't think about is like how you're heard, you know, what people say when they talk about you, what is it that you want to be seen as, and what is your ultimate goal. So we go through a whole process where we ask, you know, what is your audience, which is, you know, simple most of the time. But we try to define that a little bit further. What is your barriers to buy-in, right? Like, what stops people from actually caring about your esport or caring about your product? Like, what is a, you know, something that can hinder you, right? What do you solve? What do you do better than your competitors do?
And what's the problem you're trying to solve and stuff like that?
Why did you pick that name? Why did you pick those colors? And we go through another process where it's more about, all right, so now you think you know who your brand is, and you have like an idea of what you think you are. We go through a process with them, like, you know, the CEO and a couple other people that make decisions. And this process is usually the most interesting when you say, cool, you know, let's go through these exercises and figure out, all right, if you were a certain type of clothing company, what would your company be? Right? And it gets people to start thinking like, you know what? I didn't think about that. Like, would you be a Nike, right? Would you be so big that you're a Nike where you have a little bit of everything? Or you're an Adidas. You're still big and you're Adidas, but while you're Adidas, you have more like streetwear. You have more specific things that you kind of push and promote. Or are you not that? Are you a Supreme, right? Are you so big that everybody doesn't have you, but only the top of the top have you? Or are you something even more common than that? Are you like an Under Armour because you feel more like sports feel? You want more like athletic wear. You want that type. Like, what are you and what aren't you, right? You go through that whole process, and that's usually the biggest discussion, right? That's usually where people go, like one person will say something, the other person will say something else, and now they have to conflict. And it's like, good, we're going through this process so everyone in this company understands what you want to be and who you want to be, and all of y'all can say the same answer next time, right? Because you need to, even if you're at the C level, tell the same story to the people that's going to be your supervisors and managers, who can still tell the same story to the people that are going to be their freelancers and all that other stuff, and the audience, right? And if y'all don't have the same story, then your brand doesn't have that same message, and it doesn't give that same feel back, right? And that's before we get to any design. And then after that, we go through the typical where we talk with our client and make sure they're within the design process, but not to the point where they're hindering design, you know? And we give you the best options, best 2 to 5 options, depending on what project it is. And then we whittle down to what it needs to be, and then give you a final product.
Okay, that's really interesting. And do you run workshops with your clients? Like, do you bring them into the office and then you sit them down and you run through some exercises and stuff like that? Is that something that you guys do as well?
That creative process is all of that.
Yeah,
and that usually takes 2-3 hours of sitting with them, whether that's virtual or online. And it's crucial. It really
I reckon so. I've always said, every time, like, when it comes to rebranding and stuff like that, the research is so important. Understanding your client, understanding your client's audience, all that good stuff. And like, just, it's like you said, like a lot of people that come for a rebrand, they just think logo, stream graphics, headers and stuff like that. As you said, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than just social media, right? Yeah, it's like, just that's the first thing that people think of, which brings me to the subject of, I know a lot of my Discord friends will laugh at me for saying this, but I have a dislike for mascot logos. But there's so many esport groups, so many. I cannot tell you. I can like literally go on Twitter and probably get 30 groups, 30 teams that have a mascot logo, and like, I can't. The thing is, you type in esport logo on Fiverr or something, and all these designers will have the same style logo, or like,
it looks like a collegiate school mascot.
Yeah, like an eagle with some shiny chromy text, and then a bear or something, or a Viking and stuff like that. It's like,
I agree.
Every like almost esport brand that I've seen, little esport brands I've seen, always go for this look. I don't understand why, because if you think about it, if you look at the biggest esport brands, let's say 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, their logos are very simple.
Yeah.
In comparison to these really heavy, detail orientated animal mascot logos, so do you ever
I talk to people about that, because I mean, I wouldn't say I hate them, but I do. I prefer to go away from that. Creating this brand, and the only reason why I say that is because you got to think about form and function, correct? Right. If you have this huge, massive, fully illustrated logo, you have to think about, what does that look like at dime size, right? What does that look like really, really small? What do you do when you want to print that, right? Is it easy, or is it going to cause a lot of issues or jack up the price when you think of print? Like I said, a lot of people in gaming and esports don't think about print.
No, they don't.
So you have to start thinking about, what would that look like on a package? Like, you have this massive logo, it looks like a team logo of any other. But when you wear that out, what does it look like? What do you want people to think about? Like, I can wear this logo right here, right? It's our AOE logo, and it's simplified. And people will think that it's actual brand, right? So what is it that you want to get out of your logo? What is it you want to get out your brand? That's the whole point of, how do you want to be perceived?
Exactly.
If you want the clean cut, like, think about it. I mean, Liquid technically has a horse, but their logo is so simplified that if you put it on a shirt and embroider it on a shirt, it will look almost like a polo, right? Like,
Also, Echo Fox have done it right as well. I remember Echo Fox have done the mascot logo, but it looks really good in black and white as well. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these mascot logos. You put them in grayscale, you can't distinguish what's what, And then if you think about, like, snapbacks as well. Like, when you have a snapback, you got to think about the embroidery, right, on the snapback. How is a mascot logo going to work on like a snapback? It's not going to work, right? Because it's too complex. And then if you want to print it on let's say a black t-shirt, and let's say the mascot logo has a lot of gradients in it, you're not gonna get like the true representation of what you see on the digital from print as well, because there's too many colors, too many factors into it. So
I mean, it is again, our conversation normally when we have that is, what is it that you want to get out your logo? Because not saying that it won't work. It could work. It potentially could work. That's not an issue. The problem is that what you want out of your brand? If you tell me that you want to be 100 Thieves, then I'm assuming you want to have merch. And if that's a thing, then you need to really consider how your logo works in that merch and how you can make it more streetwear, which means that you can wear it as a day-to-day and not look like an esports team. That's the whole point. The whole point is to look so good in that situation where people mistake it for just a regular clothing brand. But if that's not what you want, and you want that type of team feel, because you want to be really heavily on esports, we are a team of competitive gamers, not a content creation team. Then there's an option where that could still work. So it comes down to why you want to use it and what you want to do. And that's pretty much, again, what the creative process is for, to get that out of you and understand, all right, make your decision on that. Like, we'll give you our best input. Of course, at the end of the day, it's your product and your brand. We'll do everything we can on our end.
Yeah. Have you ever had the incident of where you design something which you consider like really on point with their brand, but they come back and say to you, we were thinking something more like this, and then they pointed out a load of mascot logos. How do you sort of combat that problem? If someone said, if you created a really lovely logo, like 100 Thieves or like a Ferrari logo, right? And they come back to you, no, that's not what I had in mind. I had this in mind, and they show you a range of mascot logos. What would you? How would you sort of persuade the client that it's the wrong way to go?
I think we all ran into that problem.
Yeah, I have.
No way you didn't as a designer. There's no way.
Yeah.
But more recently, I mean, we still have opportunities where clients change their mind. But because of the creative process, we do a lot of sign-offs. We do a few sign-offs, right? Where we'll go through the creative process. We'll say, hey, here's the creative process. This is what we discussed. Is this everything that you feel is right for your company and your brand, right? We'll go through the whole list again. Yes? Cool. Signed off on that. This is what you said your brand is. Okay? This is what we're going to make our decisions on, and the reason why we're going to do X, Y, Z. Then the next process is mood boards. Before you get into it. So if you get into mood, like my big advice to any designer is, I understand sometimes you want to be fast and you want to be quick and you want to just knock stuff out and show that you can work fast. Sometimes take your time, or majority of the time, if you can, take a little bit of time. You go through the creative brief, explaining what they want, what they need. You do a mood board, which says, hey, am I right with the style that you're asking for? This is what I'm getting from what you told me. Because if you do that, then you save yourself a lot of headache later.
Yeah, right? Definitely.
Yeah. So I will show them, if I believe them, I will show them single color logos and single color designs and different styles and say, is this it? Because at this point in time, they have the opportunity to say, no, I want a mascot logo. Okay, cool. Now I know what you want. All right. And is this it? And then you get them to sign off on that. Once they sign off on that part, then you go, look, okay, here's your creative brief. Here's your mood board. I'm creating and designing now. This is what you asked for. This is what you were looking for. This is why we're here. So when they go, oh, you know what? Actually, maybe not. You're like, well, this is what you told me.
Yeah.
This is what we made. We can make the change, but it will cost you more.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the best way to handle that without getting mad, upset, pissed off. Like, it happens to all designers. You go, cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy to make this change. It pushes the deadline back and the price goes up. Is that what you want to do? And then they go, okay. All right, you right. Or it's like, actually go ahead and change it. And then you be like, all right, cool, no problem. I'll change it for you. So, I mean, that's the best you can do, because clients are flaky. We all know how that works. It's never going to change. It's always going to be a case. The only thing you can do is try to save your butt as much as possible and be like, hey, I made this based on what you told me. If this is a problem or this is not going the right way, we can make this change. Or you give them like, 1 or 2 revisions. And it's like, cool. I add that to my scope, so we know that you have 1 or 2 revisions within scope. Anything outside of that, extra charge, pushes the deadline back, just so you know.
I 100% agree with what you're saying. You know, like it's really important to back up your rationale of why you come to the decisions that you've made when it comes to your final design. It's just so easy for a designer just to jump straight to design without understanding the problem, without understanding the brief, as you say. But when you do your research, when you've done your stylescapes or your mood boards and your rationale, it really does, like, it's such a powerful thing to go back to the clients and say, this is what we found out about what you want and what your users want. This is why we're taking this direction. Now we are pivoting. Why? You know, if you don't want this, if you don't want to go down this direction, fine, we can go another direction. But then, yes, it will cost you more. It means that we have to go back to the drawing board again and understand again what is it that exactly that you want, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it happens. Like I said, I work with clients, and you get it, and you was like, "Yo, this is great," and they're like, "You know what? I just want it in black." Like,
yeah.
Why? Like, you just told me you want to be inclusive, friendly, and open to your clients, and the first thing you tell me now is you want all black. All black means inclusive, premier, and like, you know, it's like it happens, and then you just, I mean, sometimes you bite that bullet and you say, all right, cool, whatever, you know.
Yeah. No, I remember the first time I experienced that. This is when I was doing something for like a relative or something, or like a family friend. Basically wanted me to design, like, this is like a long time ago. This is like one of my first jobs that I did. So they wanted me to design like the restaurant menu, right? And then so I saw, like, okay, what is it that you want? It's like, oh yeah, I want something a bit more modern, something that speaks to the younger generation and stuff like that. You know, we want to target Chinese food to the younger generation, not just to middle age couples and stuff like that. I was like, okay, cool. So I've done something really, like a really modernized Chinese menu, right? And then they come back to me and said, not exactly what I had in mind. And then they said, oh, we were thinking about these examples. And they showed me like menus with dragons on it, and, you know, like koi fishes and stuff like that, red and yellow. Like, I don't know why, but the Chinese love red and yellow. Gold. I said, I thought you wanted to stay away from all of that. Oh, no, I think we want to go traditional because it speaks more to our audience. I'm like, okay, fine. You know what I mean? But at the time I was starting out, I didn't have that leverage to say, oh, it's going to cost you more, because I was desperate for money at the time. You know, I was like really young. I was probably like about 20 at the time, you know, just finishing off university at the time. So, but yeah, we all experience things like that. But if I had the wisdom that you have right now, back then, I'd probably just like, no, I'm going to charge you more for this. You know, there's no way I'm doing it again.
I was going through the ringer too. I mean, come on, man. I would be lying to you if I said I didn't start off, you know, $20 logos and stuff like that, and $50 for mixtape covers. Come on. Like, I'm not going to and act like you know, I didn't go through my own growing pains, right? The thing is, you know, at some point in time, you're just hungry for work, right? So you're gonna do what you can do. But at a certain point in time, you have to understand your value and your worth, right? And you got to go, okay, I'm better than this. I'm worth more than this. And I'm going to find clients that understand and appreciate my value and what I bring to the table. Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's the hardest thing to do.
Oh, yeah. You'll have a lot of clients that will lowball you, man, every time. Every single time. And thank you for the subscription, by the way. Sky to Rush TV. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, so now that we've spoken about your creative process, which is really good, like I really like how you try to really understand the client, you try to understand the esport team, and how you're trying to differentiate all the different esport teams, because as we said, you probably do get like clients who go, oh, I want to be like this team, and then show you bad examples of logos and stuff like that. But I like how you dealt with that. I like how you're using your research, your mood boards, your stylescapes, your rationale to alleviate any of those further complications, you know, which is really good, which I do recommend all designers do. So, which brings me to my next question. How well do you think design or creativity is received in esports? And the reason why I asked this, is because we had members of our Discord being lowballed by esport groups with poor contracts, poor payment terms, and just basically trying to get as much out of them for as little money as possible. So what do you think of this? How do you think that young designers that are desperate for their big break, how do you think they should combat this?
Yeah, I mean, this is always the question, right? Because this is what hurts a lot of creatives within this space. And it's something that I've been trying my best to educate as much as I can on, but it always comes down to kind of what you know, who you know, and who you can work with. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, as big as these esports teams are, as much money as they pulling in, these sports owners coming in and buying esports teams for $10 to $50 million each, they don't have money. They have money, but they only want to spend it on influencers and the pros on the team and flights to the events, but they don't want to spend any on marketing. Usually, not all of them, but there's a lot of teams that fall into that. And the main reason why, and it's kind of like the double-edged blade, right? Where you have designers that want to get into the esports community space and love a certain esports team or company and do stuff for them for free.
Yeah.
And it hurts the community more than it helps. But it's also one of those moments where you as a designer know that if you charge, you may not get the job because they have another person here who be like, hey, I'm doing it because I really love 100 Thieves. I really love Echo Fox. I really love Team Liquid. I'm just going to give you free work. And it really does. It's a hard thing to really solve. Yeah. But the biggest part of it is kind of what we touched on earlier, is just knowing your worth and your value. I can't front. For me, I did do some free. I did a lot of free work.
Oh yeah, I have too as well. Yeah, definitely.
It does suck. I don't like the exposure call. I'm not telling anybody ever to work for free. But it also depends on what you're doing it for, who you're doing it for, and how you're using it. Because for me, I did a lot of free work when it comes to production. Like I busted my tail for Absolute Battle, and I didn't get a dime for that. But what I did, I got into the door to meet up with bigger TOs within the space, the Evos, the CEO, Combo Breakers, and get to speak with them and get to network myself and get to the point where I can showcase, this is what I can do with no budget. Trust me, when I get budget, it's going to be crazy in there. It's real tough, man. I mean, all I can do is you ask for what you worth, right? And hope to get it. A lot of these teams are picking up designers and actually having them on their team for in-house design. You need to be your network is your biggest bank. Networking is your biggest bank right now. If you're not on LinkedIn right now as a designer, you might be failing right now a little bit. Of course, your Twitter clout does kind of help. A lot of people on Twitter and
I agree.
That get their clout up. But LinkedIn, if you really want to get and to talk to people that actually make moves, LinkedIn is a really smart way. I mean, I'm still even working on it myself because I don't like social media for myself. I only focus on it when it comes to my clients. But I know that I need to brand and do more outreach myself. So definitely be smart about trying to learn more people within the industry, because those people will help you get those opportunities where you can get paid for.
Yeah, definitely. It's not always about how good your design work is. It's knowing the right people and getting yourselves out there and try and network as much as possible.
Right.
And as I said before, I'm not a big fan of esport companies coming up to young designers and saying, hey, we really like your work. Can you design some free work for us? And when in return, we'll give you free exposure. And it's like, okay, what exposure? It's like, what exposure?
You have money. But that's also an education part for all of our designers to understand. Like, when we accept a lot of free work or cheap work, we're actually hurting all of us as a whole in some sense.
Yeah.
We're allowing people to expect that as a thing.
Expect that price to be quite low. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna change overnight, right? I mean, it's what other people say, right? You need your car fixed, you're gonna pay a mechanic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem is, as a designer, everybody thinks they can be a designer.
Yeah.
And they don't fully appreciate or understand the nuances that go behind the scenes and the creative process that works way before you even get to design, right? And it's an education thing. I mean, even for us, for AOE, we have to explain to people, and we have to explain to a couple teams why we cost what we cost. Like, we're not doing any low budget projects, and that means we lose some clients. We do, but we gain the right clients because that's what we bring to the table. And as a really well photographer that I know, in Austin when I was working with, he was like, yo, most people ask me, you know, how can I make $1,000 to do photography or more? You know, how do I get there? You make 1,000 to 2,000 to 5,000 for a photo shoot. He was like, ask for it. That at the end of the day, that's it. You find the right client that will pay for it because they understand your work and your value. You will lose a lot of other clients, but at the end of the day, you will work on that one project for $2,000 instead of the 10 projects that you were doing at a cheap price, where you're killing yourself hour-wise, time-wise, and your work is going to sacrificed a little bit, your quality, because you have to work 10 jobs for $2,000 when you can work that one and get it perfect.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
So it's all on you.
Yeah, definitely. I remembered a perfect example of this is like I had an esport group ask me for work. You know, instead of asking me for free work for free exposure, they tried this other card on me, which is basically, oh, we really like your work, but we've seen a designer that charges like less than half the price of what you're charging. And you know, like for me, I'm like, I just say, well, good luck to you. Unfortunately, it's you know, I can't go any lower than what I've given you. But good luck with this other designer. I wish you all the best. You know, that's what I tell them, right? Because I know that I rather work with clients that actually value my work, that actually see why I charge what I charge. They understand the process. They understand why the quality. They understand the quality of the work that I'm going to give them, right? But for someone to say, oh, you know, I want that quality, but I'm not willing to give you more than half for it. For me, I just say, okay, that's totally fine. I understand that, you know, you have a budget. You obviously don't, you know, obviously in my head I'm thinking, you obviously don't value what I do as much as how I value myself, so that's completely fine. So in my head, I'm thinking, you're not exactly the client I want to work with, but good luck to you. Yep. That's what I think. But, you know, I don't know whether you have that in AOE where someone says to you, we love your agency, but there's another agency that is charging less than half than what you are. What do you say to that? You know, from an agency level.
It's the same boat, right?
You
Where
say the same thing.
Okay, cool, like, this is our offer. We understand if you don't have the budget for that. We are here if you need us, but we do charge this. What has really been great for us too, I mean, even though we charge higher than most people, we don't charge anywhere near what a typical agency would be just yet, right?
Yeah, of course.
People don't understand, like, okay, designers, some of our designers don't even understand. Like, we were working with another client, and they wanted us, we were kind of working with them, so we were going to do the project anyway, but they wanted us to invoice them. And so we sent them an invoice. It was like a full brand redesign, right?
Right.
And our figures was within like 5 figures, right? And it was like, no, that's not right. It was like, oh, it's not? It was like, okay, how about you go to any major agency right now and ask them how much you'll get for a logo, style guide, look, feel, style, all that stuff. All your files. Go ahead and do that. They went to 2 different companies, and these companies were charging them $100K minimum,
what?
Up to $300K. Wow. Just for logo, look, feel, and style. And we're like, now understand, y'all do not understand the value of what designers really do, and understand how much real agencies work within this space. Like this, we're asking nothing. Like when we've talked to actual sports teams, and we'll give them a quote, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's it." And they're like,
I know that feeling. Yes, I do. I know that feeling too well. I'm like, I remember to send like a quote to a friend of mine, like a full WordPress site and everything. And then I remember to charge I sent them the invoice, and they were like, "Is that it?" Oh God, I was expecting £400 more, and I was like, shit. Oh, I could have bought myself a new PlayStation or a new monitor with that money. I was like, oh no.
I mean, but what I will say though is you do have to tailor your who you're working with and who you're talking to. Right? Like you're not going to work with an up-and-coming esports team and expect them to pay the prices that an established esports team is or a non-endemic sponsor is, right? And you have to understand that, because also the value of the things that they need done is different. I mean, even though you try to keep the prices relative, because you're not going to change. Of course. But what I tell people, especially designers, especially freelancers, sometimes it's good to, like, people always ask, what do I charge? How do I charge? It's first figure out how long it takes you to do a project, right? And then charge hourly for that as a base. Right? So if it's going to take you 40 hours to work on a logo because you want to take your time, that includes research part. That's not just design. Of course. Like majority of that is research, right? Like thinking about what you want to do, mapping out stuff, drawing out a whole bunch of sketches before you get to the point you need to. Figure out how long that time is or what that rough time estimate is, because it always depends on the client. And then charge per hour for that. So whatever you want to charge yourself, 20, 50 an hour, 100 an hour, more, whatever, you figure out, okay, my time is worth this much per hour. I'm gonna charge this much for this logo and design, right? And that is your set price. So say for instance, it end up being like $1,000 for your logo, right? Then you say, for my logo, it costs this much, and for this much, you include 2 revisions and the final logos and all that other stuff. If it goes outside of that scope and I have to redo it, then I'm going to charge you per hour after that, right? That way you make sure that your client isn't also throwing you under the rug. Because we've all worked with a client that was like, hey, I want this photo stuff done. And you go through the process and you do it. And they're like, you know what? I want to scratch all that and start back over. And you already charged them like you already got them a set budget, and now they're going to make 10, 20 different revisions within it. So you say, hey, it's into this area of where I can work in, and you'll go over it sometimes, right? Like I might give them 3 or 4, even though I told them I'm only going to do 2 revisions. But you do it depending on the client. If it's a hard client, I'm sorry, I'm charging you after the 2 because you're making this difficult.
Do your prices vary on the size of the business as well? For example, like a small business to medium and large business. Do you have set prices, hourly rates?
We typically have set prices for the most part on certain things because we know how much it costs and how much it would be. I don't really want to cheat anybody or somebody be like, oh, because I got more money than you want to do that. But it also depends on the scope of work, right? And the need for it, right? Because say for instance, we work with a team and we do their social media, it might be within this 5-figure range, but we work with a major company or a league, then it's going to go to this 6-figure range, right? Because they need more and there's a lot more involvement there, and there's a lot more on the line where we might need to hire 1 or 2 more people, right? But it all depends. Now there are times where you do get that client where it's like, I really, really, really want to work with y'all, but I don't have the budget. And it's like, okay, if we feel that client is worth, because we still want to build the community, right? But we need to do it right. We still got to pay for our time. Like, okay, we might be able to help you out and give you a part of this. So we can give you this part and this part at a discounted price because we really appreciate what you're doing and where you're going and what you're trying to do with your company and your business. And hopefully when you get to a point where you get more finances in or investors in or just people start paying for you, that you'll come back to us and then we can actually work on a full-fledged brand campaign with you. I mean, it's you got to give or take what is crucial and what's necessary. And so
I mean, I had like clients before that come to me and say, okay, I really like what you did for this other client, but unfortunately I don't have that budget, to match your other client, but I want the same thing. What can you do? And I'll be like, well, okay, what is your, this is where I had to play hardball and go, okay, what is your budget and what is it that you want? So they'll give me a list of things that they want. I'll give them the realistic, invoice or price. Okay, these are the things that you want. This is the realistic cost of all these things that you want. So what is your budget? And then they'll tell me what their budget is. So they'll say, so for example, all the things that they want, it'll probably be about, let's say 3 to 4k, right? And then they'll say, okay, but we only have 2k to spend. Okay, if you only have 2k to spend, then I can remove some of these things and I can do these things for you for 2k. Is that something that you're interested in? Or, and then they'll probably be like, yeah, what else can you throw in? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'll throw one more thing in, but that's it. But if unfortunately I can't do any more than that. And then most of the time they will agree to it, which is good because they actually like the quality of my work. But sometimes, unfortunately, I'll have to say no because, the budget is too low and they want all these things, and then they'll just go to another designer that charges less than half than what I'm charging, which is fine. As I said, good luck to them.
Yeah,
and then
I mean, it is. Can't be upset. Like, all right, cool. Like, I understand. That's the problem. That is what it is. Good luck to you. Let us know if budget does later, we can go into like a full-fledged campaign after that. Like, I mean, it's a couple. Like I said, we have lost some clients because of that, but it's just honest. Like, we can only do so much. We have employees to take care of, and we have to pay for all their benefits and all that stuff. So it's around this ballpark. And also because of the experience and what we know and what we bring to the table, you've seen our work, you understand our work. Where's valued at, right? And you just got to be honest with them. Like I said, you lose some, but the ones that you get are those clients that you want to be involved with. And all the clients that we're working with, like, we appreciate all the stuff that they do and enjoy working with them, where it's like, it's almost more, we like to stay boutique. We don't want to have like 100 people in our company or nothing like that. Like, we want to stay small so that we have more like intimate conversations with our clients and get like involved more into the project and make sure that we take care of their project, their needs, and help them build their story properly instead of hiring like 50 more people just to work on a project. The project's over, we can't, like some other agents do. So
and continuing on with that story that I had before, that client went to another designer. However, half a year later, they came back to me and said, we want you to work on the same project. And I was like, oh, hi, how are you? It's like, well, thank you. We're like, well, we need you to fix our problem. And I'm like, oh, what's the problem? And then you see, like, they actually presented the work to me, and it's like a really half-assed job logo, you know what I mean? Like, really badly done. And then they're having to spend more because I have to fix what's broken as well. So
they gotta learn. Like,
they will come back. Once they understand, they will come back.
My cousin can design. My cousin designed this. Okay. I mean, good. If he's good, he's good.
well, great. Go to your cousin then. You know what I mean? No harm. Good luck to your cousin.
We're here.
Oh man. So, with that said, which brings us to the meaty question, basically, which a lot of our viewers really, really want to ask is, what is your advice to upcoming designers or creatives that are going through this obstacle right now that that they are going through this obstacle of being offered really low contracts or whatever, what's your advice to them? Do you just tell them just to leave it, understand their value, and move on, or do you have more additional advice to that?
Well, I mean, for designers, definitely those who are trying to make their name for themselves. There are a couple different ways outside of just like free work. You can do a lot of work for yourself to help build and promote your own portfolio without having to give it to anyone for free. So, for instance, I mean, a good example, and I know he's a big name, but he does something that a lot of other people can be doing within this industry. Boss Logic.
Oh yeah, Boss Logic. Yes, he's amazing. He's so good.
It's an opportunity to do a mashup. He's on it, right?
Yeah.
You have that opportunity, depending on what you do and what your style is, to create those portfolios for yourself, regardless. Like, say for instance, you really do love, esports team. Like, again, everybody wants to say like 100 Thieves, right? Or say for instance, I'll say Evil Geniuses right now because people are like on the fence about how they rebranded. So here's an opportunity for you to go, you know what would it look like if I created that?
Yeah.
If Evil Geniuses was my client, I know I'm not going to get paid for this, at least not right now. I'm going to create the new logo, new header, new social graphic, new jersey, new stream overlays. I'm going to create all of that, and then I'm going to put it on my portfolio. And then I'm going to tweet at Evil Geniuses, right? Like, I'm going to...
One of our members actually did that, It was a Lazarus, I think. Like, he literally just did a header. I think it was Nero. He just, like, did a header. I think it was Nero. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Nero? Or what? Who was it? I can't remember who it was. But it was one of our members from the Discord, right? He literally saw a banner that he did not like, and he literally redesigned it. He just, like, did the whole thing and tagged Lazarus into it and said, like, here's what I could do. And he literally just messaged him back and say, hey, we're interested in your work. Come DM us when you have time. So that is another great way of getting like noticed. Just redesigning something. Like, you see something you don't like, redesign it and tweet them.
Yeah, do hot topics. Like, I mean, I got the opportunity to talk with Lupe because of that Lupe Fiasco versus Daigo match, where he was like, hey, I would love to play. And then Mark Man's like, hey, man, well, you should come by Mad Cats and kick it with us and play against Daigo. And it's like, yeah, cool. That would be great. And then Daigo's like, yeah, I'm down. Immediately. I was like, oh, all right. I made a graphic where it was Lupe versus Daigo.
What? Yeah.
Put that photo on Twitter, and it blew up. And everybody used that image for the match that they did when Lupe went against him. And it was like, it's one of those moments where people are like, oh yeah, you created that graphic. Like, you can find ways, like find those moments that make you cool. Everybody's going to be on top of.
Yeah.
And then utilize that for your own benefit, to be honest. But it's also because you have a love for that game, or you have a love for that team or that organization. Yeah. And you show, hey, I can do great work. Pick me up if you're looking for someone. You can put yourself in those doors without giving out your work for free. You're doing it for free for yourself.
Yeah.
You're self-promoting yourself, but you didn't just give a $1 million company your designs that they're gonna bank off of while you get nothing from. That is one option. The other option that I like to tell people too is to think outside the box and to continue building on your portfolio outside of, like, again, in esports, it's everybody's focus on social media and stream overlays and logos. And it's like, okay, what the best thing that looks good in people's portfolios, especially when you're talking about getting a legitimate job, is to make sure that you build a portfolio that shows you do more than just the typical. So when you think of a brand redesign is not just a logo.
No,
right?
Definitely not.
So you go, I'm gonna make the logo. I'll make the social media and stream overlays if I feel necessary for that. Merchandise. I could start building merchandise. What would it look like on a package? What would it look like on a box? What would it look like on a shirt? What would it look like on a bottle, depending on what the context is for?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
think outside of just digital. Like, what else can you do? Even to the point where it might even be concepting what a commercial or some type of advertisement will be. Because when you send that off as a portfolio, you automatically look better than a lot of the people who are already applying who only sent social media stuff,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Because they go, oh, this person thinks deeper than just what looks good on
Yeah,
here.
yeah, of
Like, they
course,
actually
of
thought about
course.
how it's implemented elsewhere.
Yeah,
Um, and that's what I try to tell a lot of young designers to think about when they want to work on design and
yeah,
get
yeah.
better knowledge. So,
I totally agree with you because I do a bit of, I do a few interviews as well, for Booking.com where we employ UX, UI designers and stuff like that. And I think I experienced this with, with creative agencies as well. What I do see a lot with young creative designers or designers in general, it's like they'll normally bring a portfolio and they have amazing polished work, right? Amazing,
mm-hmm.
like really good work. But the issue is I don't understand how they come to that conclusion.
Yes.
You see where I'm coming from? So okay, you came with this logo, right? It's brilliant. You got it on the mock-ups, you got it on, like, we've got the real aspect of it. It's brilliant. You put it on a t-shirt, you put it on merchandise, but how did you come to that? Where was the thought process into getting to that final outcome? And that was the issue that I was having with a lot of portfolios, that it doesn't tell a story, like on
Yep.
how you solve this problem. How did you solve this problem with the client? How did you understand your client, and how did you come up to this conclusion? And it's the same with any UX project or UI project, right? Like, I don't want to see final polished work. I don't want to just see amazing screens. I want to see, like, how did you make this product better? How did you make this work better for our users and stuff like that? It's the same thing with design. How did you make this better for your client? How did you come to this and stuff like that? It's like, is that what you want to see in for example, if someone wants to work for you, what is it that you want to see in a portfolio, other than just seeing, like, a logo being put on merchandise and stuff like that? So what else would you like to see?
It's again the same thing. That's what we always talk about. It's the story.
Yeah,
It's what does it mean? Does it make sense outside of it just looks cool? Because
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
we like. Designers in the game and esports community are really great at making stuff look good. We really are. The thing is, are we really good at storytelling? Are we really good at making someone give a damn about your brand?
Yeah,
And that's where I feel like it struggles within this industry, and that's why we created AOE Creative to try to branch out of that and push out of that. Because everybody, when you talk about like great brands in general, people always want to go to like the Nike and Apple and all that stuff like that. But it's like, the reason why Nike worked is because Nike built a movement around their product and their brand. The Just Do It movement is massive because it was something that people resonated with. And it became,
exactly.
yo, no excuses, get it done. And everybody associated that with that brand.
Yeah, yeah.
What esports team does that right now, right? And then if you think about esports, everybody wants to say 100 Thieves, right?
Yeah.
Because 100 Thieves did what, they made a street brand and everybody loved it. And it was like, oh man, that's great. Like, they really dug deep into that and went into that. Yeah, it's like, yeah, but you don't need to be 100 Thieves. You need to be your own brand, and you need to build your own story, and you need to bring your own narrative that makes other people follow you. Like, right now, for our company, our team, like, we are sitting on 2 or 3 esports teams ideas we would love to give to a client once they have some money.
Like, you just have it in a backlog somewhere, like your dream brief, just like
bro,
living
like,
up there. Like, well, you haven't got the client to pay for that one yet.
It's like, yeah, we have it. We're like, it's right here.
Yeah.
You
just
want
just give us the money for this one.
If you want to build a team that actually has a legitimate story and can build some fun around knowing the players of the brand, like, we have ideas, and it's because we see it, like, right now. That, I mean, like I said, we worked with all the top tier esports teams, and all of them say the same thing: is our brand is cool. We don't know what to do next. Like, we don't know why we have this logo or this color, and we just want to be 100 Thieves.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's like, no, stop that. You're not. You're not. Your brand here is not 100 Thieves. So far,
mm,
your team is the top tier esports team that everybody's trying to trample. So be that. How
yeah,
about you be the premier esports, the premier sports field team, and deal with that and take that to the head.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, like Evil Teams is embracing the evil of their name, right? It's good.
yeah.
There's things they need to probably do in order to do it properly, but at least you're building a story, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, you must have clients who just go, I'll just, 100 fees do it this way, so I want to do it this way as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you must get
And
clients
that's
that
what
do
we,
that.
we
So
cut down in the creative brief.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the whole point of it is to
yeah,
go, oh, you say you're 100 Thieves, but
you're not.
according to the results,
Yeah. You bring them back down to reality. No, you're not 100
the
feet.
lie
You're
detector
you're
determined
one of
that was
these.
a lie.
You're one of these mascot teams. That's what you are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Oh
like
man.
it's a good process. It's funny. Like one of the exercises, like I said, the is and is not right is, you know, one that we like to put in there is comic book character, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody says Deadpool.
Cool.
Everybody.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
you're not Deadpool. You
Yeah,
said your
definitely.
company is friendly, inclusive, and all this stuff. You are not Deadpool. So
Yeah,
cut that
yeah.
out now.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's get
yeah.
back to
Oh, I like how you're using the Marvel characters to
yeah.
compare your clients.
It's
That's a funny way of
it's
doing it.
something that people know, right? Because it's a lot easier to explain to them
Yeah,
that because when they sit down and think about it, like, yeah, you're actually right. Like, huh, I guess you're right. Like, even though I might not like it, we're trying to be more like Captain America. It's like, yeah, you are. You're trying to be friendly, nice. You're not um actually being like Deadpool anti-hero. Did the call mess up?
yeah. Your
Uh-oh.
camera. Oh wait. Oh no. Your camera's just froze up all of a sudden. Are you still there? Oh. Hello. Oh no. Disconnection problem. Let's disconnect and try again. Let's hold on, guys. Yo, we're back.
We had a moment.
We had a moment. We're all good now. We're all good. Hold on. There we go. There we go.
It's all
Sorry about
good. But
that.
yeah, it happens like that, man. Like I said, you have people, you talk to people, they start figuring out, okay, we want to be more like Captain America and Spider-Man. It's like just easy to go, oh yeah, you're right. Even though I might not want that, because a lot of people just want to look cool.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
we get a lot of people that are like, yeah, we're like Supreme. And it's like, but you're not, because this is what you want people to think of your company. You can't be a Supreme if you want people to think. If you want to be Supreme, then we need to change your values
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
what you
I
want to
agree.
determine yourself as. And that is why we do that before we get to design, because it answers those questions and it makes them answer those tough, hard questions where it's like, forget what you want. What does your brand need?
Yeah, yeah. And what does your users want as well? What do you how do you want people to perceive you, right? More than anything.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree to that 100%. So this I know this question isn't what we planned out, but I think it's a good question to ask. So if someone wants to come into an interview with AOE, what is the process of what is the interview process to work with AOE then? Would you expect them to work a task, or what would you make them do?
No, I don't know. I don't like to ask people to do free work,
Yeah.
even if it's BS.
The
I
amount of people that ask me for work.
I believe you. I
Yeah.
believe you, man. And again,
Yeah.
the
Like,
reason why I love the fact that I'm one of the founders and owners of the company is because I understand how it is to be a designer and a creative, and I'm not just someone who have good ideas and want my design team to do them.
yeah.
Like for instance, like my business partner, he's big on the marketing part. So of course he's going to have these grandioso ideas that he wants to do, and then my job is to come in as the creative and say, okay, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, and we can do it in this amount of time, or we can't do that exactly, but we can manage here.
Yeah.
So I would never ask anybody to design for me in an interview, but interview process wise, to be honest with you, we're really lax. We're really chill.
Yeah.
We want a community where, I mean, you can come in, t-shirt, chill. where you can hang out in the office. I mean, after office hours, if we're not on video games or board games, like we're still kind of talking and chatting. Like we want the atmosphere to be fun and inviting. Like you want to come to the office. Of course, do work. Like you have to do work, but there's no reason why you can't do work and have a good time. So a big thing for us is we already looked at your portfolio, right? So if you're in the interview process with us, we already looked at your portfolio. We already understand a little bit of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
We want to understand more about your creative process and make sure that you are thinking about all the aspects of your design.
Yeah.
But actually, half of the interview is understanding who you are, because we want people that want to be there. We want people that want to grow, that feel that self in them, that they need to get better at all times. Because I want to hire somebody better than me, you know? And I feel like, I'm a really great designer, but I want to make sure the people that are on my team can do things that I cannot. And I have to go ask them for stuff or even learn a little bit from them, because as an owner or as a leader, I need to be able to learn some stuff from my team. I need to relinquish some stuff off my plate in order to trust my team in order to do the same. So I want to make sure in my interview process, we're picking up people that I feel I can easily lend the torch to, and they can lead just as well as me. I just want strong-minded people who are hungry. And to be honest, like I've done interviews before when I was at other companies, and I feel the same way. Like you might come in with the best portfolio, you might have the best work anyone else has seen, but if you come into the interview and you're overconfident and you're tooting your own horn, and in a sense of I'm just better than everyone, I should get this type of job type attitude, I'm not going to pick you. Because you're not going to sit right with the team.
You want a people's person, right? I'm going to pick
somebody, who's hungry, who may not be as good as that person, but is willing to get to that person's level. And that's what we want to see. Like we want a culture of people in the office that all are just grinders, that all want to do more. Like I shouldn't have to micromanage you, because you should be eager enough to be like, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this fun ass project that I know I wouldn't have got the opportunity to be a part of if I wasn't on the team. So for us, of course, your skill and what you do is very important. But outside of that, it is your personality and what you bring to the table, as far as culture and, yourself and your improvement, and self, promotion and whatever the other word is. I'm stuck right now, but
I know what you mean. Like, for me, I work mainly in-house rather than agencies. I work in in-house companies. Like for example, Booking.com. So for me, it's always important that I have that team aspect wherever I work, that I get on with the people that I work with. And like, as I said, and as you said, we had designers before where they produce amazing work, but they've not got the right attitude. They're very as you said, very stuck in their own heads. Do you get what I mean? And it doesn't make me want to work with you. It doesn't make me want to share work with you, because you're so arrogant.
The extra drama that's gonna come involved. Nobody wants that. Like we want to be happy about working with one another. That's important.
Exactly.
It's like a team. It's like an esports team, right? If you're on a team with 5 people, but nobody gets along, but you're all superstars, you're going to lose. Right? Like you'll lose to that team that is not as great as you, but they understand each other, they coordinate with each other better, and they have better communication. That team will have a one-up on you.
Exactly.
That's how it has to be, even within the agency and your design team.
100% agree. 100% agree. And speaking of culture, right? Like I actually had quite a lot of companies that come to me on LinkedIn, and I don't know why, but they always try to sell me like their business and say, "Oh, we're a new startup, we're amazing, we're gonna offer you the same salary, and we have a pool table." And I'm like, "Oh, great, brilliant, yeah, that's gonna sell it to me." I don't understand with all these these companies saying, "Oh, we have a pool table, we have bean bags." Yeah, and it's like, well,
We
okay,
tell people,
brilliant. You know, like, what are you trying to tell me that you're like this hipster startup? You know, come on, man. You know what I mean? You need to sell it to me more. You know, like a beanbags and a pool table or foosball table is not going to sell it to me. You know, I need a bit
yeah,
more than that in order to believe in your business. But a lot of companies do that though. Like, oh yeah, we're this amazing startup. You know, we can offer you this salary. You'll be working on these big projects, and we have a foosball table and a pool table and beanbags. Yay. And I'm like, oh, right, brilliant.
look, we're just dead honest with people. See, unfortunately, I'm not in my office,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
but our conference room
Yeah,
is
yeah.
usually what we show off, and in our conference room we got game stuff around. We got jerseys we worked on.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a table that's specifically made for conference rooms,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it also doubles as our board table. It has a TV embedded in it. We got it custom made.
Oh,
And
nice,
we tell
nice.
people, hey, look, after work, sometimes we play D&D. It
Yeah,
is what it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we have a good time. We might play with you on Valorant. Just jump in the channel. If it is what it is, like we want people to understand. We're chill. We just like everyone else. We just have a good time. We love design. We love creative work. We
Mm-hmm.
love marketing,
Yeah,
and gaming, and we just live that life. And if you're about that life, then by all means, like we want you on the team.
yeah,
Otherwise, if
yeah.
you feel gaming is stupid and dumb, then you definitely should not be here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I remember what sold it to me with Booking.com. They said we have a gaming room and we also have arcade machines on our on our work dues, you know, our work parties. And I was like,
yeah,
sold.
yeah,
That
exactly,
was it.
exactly.
You know, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah,
So benefit.
yeah, yeah. That's it for me.
Where are we shopping after work? Let me know.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll probably take the arcade machines over the foosball table and the beanbags. Yeah, I think I'll go with this option.
Yep, exactly,
Yeah. All
exactly.
right.
They try.
Okay, so right. So the next thing
I mean,
now is basically, do you have any work would you like to show to our viewers?
yeah, there's a couple things like the stuff I really want to show. Can't at this moment, but there's definitely a lot of stuff that we worked on throughout the time frame, throughout the years. And we love the stuff that we done.
Okay,
This right
cool.
here, I'm just showing beforehand because it was something we discussed
Yeah.
about
Just gonna.
mascot logos.
Yeah. Bear with
Can you
me a
see my screen?
second. I'm just gonna switch into another screen if you don't mind. There we go.
No problem.
Yeah. So we've
All
got
right,
a bigger
so we
screen.
were talking about mascot logos, and I'm laughing at this. Just bringing this up because this is a client that we worked with, because this was their logo before they worked with us, right?
All right. Okay.
Um, because of the fact that it's called Nerd Street Gamers.
Yeah.
The idea is that they're a marketing. I mean, they're not a marketing company. They're a umbrella company with a whole bunch of gaming divisions under it.
Yep.
So they own venues and stuff in Philly,
Okay.
as well as they're going to have a lot more shops open probably by end of year.
Yep.
Corona, of course, messed up a lot of that. And so they needed something that'll be more business friendly, but also still resonate with gamers.
Yep. Yep.
So that's when we went and worked on this, which is
Yo, that's slick.
changing that logo into something that's a little bit more friendly, a little
Yeah.
bit more
Yeah.
welcoming, because
Mhm.
the crossbones situation is that doesn't make me feel welcome. Like I'm not about to come to you as a new gamer that don't know anything about gaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so the idea was to create a neutral mark
Nice.
that
Nice.
usually work with design, as well as giving them multiple ideas and iterations, variations for their logo, because it needs to work in different aspects, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's the idea of full logo vertical,
Mhm.
going around just the word mark by itself, or tagging it with just the initials. And so we, again, going through that whole portfolio process or creative process, showing this brand in different ways and
Whoa.
showing how
Check that
they can
out. That's
integrate
so
gaming
clean.
with their designs. Yeah, this was, again, they talk mainly to big businesses, but they do talk to gamers as well. So the
Yeah.
idea is
Yeah.
that they want to look official and they need to look official. So we want to bring a brand that easily conveys who they are, what they are,
Mhm. Mhm.
without doing too much. Also planning with the logo and the end mark, that is like the electricity bolt, which is the
Yeah.
power
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Think of like video games and Mario hitting a box and getting a
Yeah.
power up, as well as the bottom right corner, which is like that arrow.
Mhm. Mhm.
If you're thinking about mouse clicks or a street that cuts in it. But yeah, we want to kind of just show them that they can put this and use this
Hey,
for
gotta have
any
the
type
the
of.
stock businessman in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to. This is your business
You
plan.
gotta have the stock
This is
businessman in
what
there,
he will
man.
look like.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
that sells it. That really sells it to me.
Yeah. And so showing them and showing them like what it looks like on business cards, what it looks like on lanyards, what it looks
Damn,
like
man. Oh
with
my god,
merch.
look at that hoodie.
Um,
Man,
yeah,
I'll wear
what
that.
you can do to still sell this brand, still make it cool, still use it within different aspects. You can even use this box to put merch in if you got like a VIP that you're trying to talk to.
Man, this
Of
is
course, the
sick.
hat. Like if you were to brand the
Whoa, look
console
at
stuff
that.
that you have at your LAN systems, like this is what you will use for that, right? Like if because they have LAN centers, they have centers like arcade places that they want to have set
Yeah.
up in community.
You know what I
So
love about that?
uh,
That PlayStation.
yeah,
How you use the PlayStation shape and made the logo out of it. That is genius. Oh my god, that's
yeah, we was
genius,
and
mate.
this is like the fun shit that you get to do. You're like the
Yeah.
moments where you stay up late at night where you're like, bruh, I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
Man,
And
that is
then
sick.
the whole campaign that we started with them was new look, same nerds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because of the fact that they went from changing their logo drastically
yeah.
to this new, even more corporate feel,
Mm-hmm.
but still telling you, hey, because we got this new look, we're the same nerds that you've been playing with the whole time.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and so, yeah, this is us working on their landing page.
Wow.
Um, Definitely one of the brands
Whoa.
that we had a lot of fun with working with. But again, we like to show
Blown away,
the
mate.
full aspect. It's the full gamut, right? It's
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
past this, the social stuff
Mm-hmm.
and saying how can we use this everywhere else.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even with them, we was able to make commercials and stuff for them that we were able to put on TV.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that was one of the brands that we worked with last year, as well as like 11s,
Whoa.
which this brand is for a soccer player.
Okay.
It's why did I forget his name? Oh my god, I'm messing up right now. You'll probably know him soon. So Gareth Bale.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Gareth Bale. Yes,
So
yes. Gareth
Gareth
Bale.
Bale is
Whoa.
making his sports
Gareth
team.
Bale, guys. Gareth
Yeah,
Bale.
yeah. So we were
Shit.
helping out with this project about showing his look, feel, and style
Yeah,
differently than other esports teams. Of course, they want to get a little bit more street into
yeah.
it. Of course, Stranger Things is kind of like a little bit of the inspiration for
Mm-hmm.
this. But the idea is to take that and also bring it back to to being sports and traditional sports, since of course FIFA, of course Gareth Bell and his brand.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't create the logo because Gareth Bell already has his logo.
So
That's
that was
his
already
logo.
designed by another agency.
Yeah.
You
So
taking the logo and we and did graphics for it
correct,
basically. Right.
correct. So we like to pride about telling people that we can create a brand from scratch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We can rebrand a brand and make it something new, or we can take a brand that is already existing and just add to that. So the
Wow.
idea here is using this swoosh to kind of get like a little bit of that FIFA type feel,
Yeah,
but also
yeah.
like flow of movement and freedom with the paintbrush and style.
Yeah, it's got that
So
Street Fighter 5 feel. You know, the Street Fighter 5 use that sort of swoosh
yeah,
sort of effect
yeah.
on the characters, don't they? So this is awesome, man.
So it's like promoting the players in their way and kind of giving them more of the highlight, doing a little bit
Yo.
different for their live now graphics and feel,
Yeah.
and even going to their jerseys.
Oh my god.
And for the jerseys, again, going like that traditional kit style. So Gareth Bell, of course, he's on this team. We want to make sure the kids feel that way because
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of times the argument is we're esports. Why are we wearing a soccer kit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a soccer player, so he can legit wear the kit, and it makes sense. so the idea is building this brand and this style, showing the different kits for home and away, or white jerseys, black
Yeah.
jerseys, however we want to. And then again, just showing different ways that we can even do the merch or the bags, even if again, thinking about what do you give a VIP or what do you onboard your players with, right? When your players go, hey, I'm on the team now. Okay, what do they get? A pat on the back and a
Mm-hmm.
new header for their social media? Like, why don't you give them an actual product where this is like the actual duffel bag that they can use every day?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we made a duffel bag for the Houston Outlaws, and honestly, I use it every time I travel. And because it's cool, and when people look at it, they ask questions, and then this conversation started. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what team is that? And so that was the brands that we was working with AOE.
That's
And
really
then
awesome. I like how it's
yeah,
not I like how the blue has been carried over to everything, like including the shoes. And I like how the swoosh has been used, not just as a decorative piece, but it actually looks like it's doing something. Do you get what I mean? Like how it's
yeah,
curving around the ball and stuff like that. There's a lot of consideration. It looks like there's a lot of considered factors in these designs. I'm blown away, to be honest with you. I don't know what to say. It's just like, this is really awesome stuff. Yeah,
like
this is.
we enjoy, like, we throw ideas out every day, and I think a healthy thing for everybody is to,
Yeah.
whenever you have free time, like every Monday morning, at least for us,
Yeah.
I make it mandatory that everybody has to come to our Monday morning meeting
Mm-hmm.
with a design of some creative, if that's video, if that's social, if that's stream, if that's product,
Mm-hmm.
and discuss why they like it or why they don't like it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
every Monday. Because it's crucial to be that way and look at what's the style now.
Mm.
And something else that I'll show is, again, we did get to work on the in-game team sprays
Oh yeah,
for Overwatch.
yeah. Oh, these are nice.
So we
Yeah.
were able to work on all of these that all represented the city and the team.
Mm-hmm.
They really want to focus on something that represented the city.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish they would have taken some of our other ideas, because we had some very trollish sprays. That when you're in the middle of a match, something that would be great to spray after you got a kill. But
Oh no way.
Overwatch wants to be safe.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. Oh, I
So
love that. I
we
love that
made,
dim sum one, man. Oh my god. Gong Zhao
yeah,
charge.
so we made
Yeah.
sprays that represent their location, where they are within the space, and these are actually in game, so you can get it and spray
Ah.
it in the middle of the game on, like, when you're in the middle of a match, so you can represent the team that
Yeah.
you like. A lot of people like the Justice Hammer because of what I just said. Because after you kill somebody, you can spray this above their head or something. And, like,
Wow.
so
That's
there's a lot
incredible.
of ideas we wanted to do that would have been just as fun. But these still came out great, and it was a fun process to work with. Outside of course, us working with their social media and doing their social media graphics.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I
yeah, but
can
yeah,
I just say, like, if clip art looked this good, I'll be using clip art every single day. You know what I mean? Like, if clip art was like this, I'll be using clip art. I will not be doing anything
oh man,
else. But this is like,
we were looking at the styles, bro. We was like, bro, this is just some fun things to do.
it's like
And
clip art on steroids.
last thing I would like to show is what we did is, like, this is right before we started AOE, but it was with Optic Gaming.
Yeah.
We created the first ever virtual reality space for any team that's
Yeah.
sports or esports or anything.
Right.
So
Right.
we worked with Sanstar. We had like a virtuality space
Nice.
where you can go into this space, walk around, interact in VR or just on the desktop.
All
And we
right.
made it to where it's like a homage to Optic Gaming, and it
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
different sections. This section was like their trophy room, where they'll have their trophies on the case. The play buttons will allow people to click the button to hear the epic moment of the win.
Oh
So they'll hear
wow.
the announcers get hype within that space. In the middle was the OG logo, as well as, like, it'll rotate and switch
Yeah.
out with their
Yeah.
sponsor. And then photos against the wall that show, like, highlight moments of their championships and fan activations.
Yes.
And then the banners on the wall that show all their championships that they've won. And then it went to other spaces within that room, where in every section of the room had TVs so that you can see whatever's live.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whenever they're at an event, this space will show the event live. When they're not at an event, it will show their YouTube series. So while you're in this space, you get the opportunity of experiencing it, even though you're just in VR. So you had a shop, where you can see their jerseys. So the new jerseys was displayed in the shop. We did want to add a feature later that allowed you to actually buy it in game to get it ordered to you in real life, while also getting it for your avatar. So this avatar has, like, the hoodie, but you can also buy it and get it in real life. So that was another fun piece and project that we got to work on that was real interesting, right? Like, being able to show, like, this is what you can do that's different than anyone else in the space. Like not even sports teams have done that yet. So it was cool, and that whole activation was a part of like this Spec Ops deal that we had with Optic Gaming,
Oh
where
yeah,
we
yeah.
changed, power, precision, prestige was kind of embodying them because even though Optic is one of the largest esports teams,
Yeah.
a lot of their fan base was not following them at the time, or like not being interactive with any of their social media stuff.
Right. Right.
So we want to tie back that to what everybody knew them for, which was like sniper montages and being Call of Duty driven. So even though they had a whole bunch of teams, we wanted to focus heavily on what made them great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we went like, what were they known for? Call of Duty, military type style, sniper montages. So we made the design look more military. Again, to build that story. If the campaign is power, precision, prestige, it's showing the power of them winning all the time, precision in who they pick on their teams, and the prestige of all their championships and their legacy within that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we created badges, so military type badges that indicated what game you were talking about in social. So if it was Call of Duty, you'll have the 5 stars, gears, it'll show the gear, etc. And even worked on like gifts and stuff
Oh
showed
yeah, yeah. Look at that. I like how you blended that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was just trying to show kind of who they are and what they are and what game.
Yeah.
Especially since at that
Mental.
time, Optic was getting more and more different games that they were representing.
Yeah.
The reason why I bring this up is because we did something different, which we like to tell people that want to do stuff within gaming and esports to do something different. You know, when you go to an esports event, what you normally see is that people they want to create a booth at the venue to show their product, but everybody does the same shit, which is show you my product, and if I'm at a gaming event, let you play a game.
Yeah, that's like, true. Yeah.
Everybody does that, right? And it's like, okay, can we move past that? Like, can we do a little bit more? Like, I don't want to go to a Call of Duty event to play Call of Duty. While I'm watching Call of Duty to win maybe some more Call of Duty stuff all the time. Like, so we created the first like team sponsored booth at the Champs, where Optic Gaming was there, and we had this huge crate that had like $3,000 worth of stuff in it, and we had locks on it. And what we did was a scavenger hunt, and so you will find the 4 digits in 4 different areas. So it was one that was online, which is like the VR space that we created for Optic Gaming at that time. Another one was at the booth. Another one was in these packages that you see at the bottom right.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I believe, was on the website.
Right.
And so you had to decode to figure out what the numbers were. And then Sunday, we allowed you to unlock it. So we had the whole weekend, our booth was full because every other booth just played Call of Duty and did tournaments.
Yeah.
This booth, we had VR, so you could actually see the VR space and run around the VR space. And we had this huge scavenger hunt crate in the middle with $3,000 worth of stuff to whoever who won.
Right.
And so our booth stayed packed, even though Optic that year didn't even make it to finals. So they wasn't even at the venue. Everybody stayed at our booth, regardless if you was a fan or not, because they wanted to be involved. And with that, it was one of the most fun events. We ended up having like everybody line up the longest to open up this crate. This kid at the bottom left ended up winning. And then we even had a merch drop at the same time where we had exclusive merch during that weekend to promote a lot of the stuff that we had. So
yeah, I love the
that's why we love the story driven aspect. It's more than, again, just good design. It's how do you implement it and how do you make it make sense. And so don't want to show that.
Viewers, look away now.
Screen snap. But yeah, that's it, and that's how we feel about it. I mean, that's a lot of the stuff that we do, and a lot of the stuff that we want to share, like with our clients, is make something that resonates with you, your fan base, and your company and your brand, and think outside of just I'm creating something that looks good, because that only lasts for so long if you don't
That
have
is
a
super
movement behind
awesome. I'm really, really impressed. Well, thank you so much for showing that, and I think the viewers are really happy seeing, the work
it.
that you yourself and your team have produced. I think it gives them like a clear idea of what level that we need to be at. You know what I mean? Like, it gives them a clear idea of like how to present our work as well. Like, we loved. But particularly me, I love how you told the story, how it developed, how like a logo developed into the VR rooms, how you developed into the drops as well. It's just, it's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love that. I love that work. So that leads us right to the final question
To the
from
chat.
from me. The final question is basically, do you have any advice to our viewers or to the people that want to get into design as a career? What is your advice to them now that really want to start out in their career in design?
If you really want to start a career in design,
Mm-hmm.
I like to tell people to understand that it is extremely competitive.
Yeah.
And you should know that if you're going to be involved in this, you have to have the hunger to want to get better and
Mm-hmm.
want to do more and want to show off great work,
Mm-hmm.
even at times where you might be unmotivated. Um, to understand that you have to be strong and always try to get better. Like, there's always going to be something you need to learn. So don't ever discourage yourself and be like, well, I'm not there, so I will never be there. No, you have to put in the work to get there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you want to be swole bodybuilder, you have to work all the time in the gym in order to get to that physique that you want. Just the same when it comes to design or anything else that's creative,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? First and foremost is you, and how do you build yourself and make sure you do the right things in order to grow. With that also being said, is also learn how to network and promote yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because that is your biggest driver.
Yes, I agree.
Most people say, "Hey, I'll give you some clout, if you do some free stuff with me." It's like, that's not really helping you as much. What's helping is you learning how to pitch yourself, pitch your design, understand your value, and explain to others why they want to work with you. And that's a crucial thing. Like I said, the more people you know, the more you're trying to learn, the better opportunities you'll get for sure.
That is some awesome advice. So remember that, guys. Okay, let me switch the camera now. Bear with me a second,
I didn't,
guys.
I didn't know my camera was off. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. We're now back on the dual camera action now. Okay. So I'm gonna leave the questions over to the viewers now. So this is where you guys, the viewers, get to ask our celebrity designer right here some questions. If there's some things that you guys want
Oh,
to
man,
know,
yeah,
fire away. So he's all here. So you don't get an opportunity to speak to someone like a CCO or co-founder of an agency, an esports agency, every day. So if you guys want to ask him a question, fire away, because this is a great opportunity, guys. I already asked so many questions. If you guys got questions, fire away now. So let's wait for some questions. So
That's all good, man. I know. I mean, you said I'm no celebrity. I just love what I do. It's so ironic.
Okay, so ASAP Marco asks, what would you recommend for a newbie like me to improve? I don't want a career. I just do it for fun.
For you, I mean, if you're doing it for fun, then work on the designs that you enjoy, right? If it is social, then continue looking at social. Like I said, what I like to do with a lot of my team is make sure that they are actively looking at other creatives that they feel is better than them. Um, because I always think you should always have someone you feel like is better than you and that you're achieving to strive to get better. If you want to try to learn how to be a better designer, even if you're just having fun, there's nothing wrong with trying to recreate something that someone else made, as long as you're not trying to sell it. That's where the problem comes in, where people will go in and be like, "Oh yeah, I created this design and I sold it to such and such." Like, yeah, but that's someone else's design. If you're doing it to learn, so you understand the techniques that someone else did, fine. As long as you're not in the process of giving it out to somebody else. So for designers, it's nothing wrong with going, okay, I like this designer. Can I do something similar to this designer? All right. When you get to a client, you say, hey, I did like that design, but how can I make that design mine? Right. Without, copywriting or taking or infringing on something that someone else did. But overall, it's more about continuing to improve yourself and finding other designs that you like that you can build off on for yourself and your own portfolio.
Okay, oh, that's awesome. Okay, so I've got a question for me. Well, you can answer this one as well. So this one's from Neptune. Is there any resources you recommend people to look at to get design inspiration? So for me personally, I like to go into Pinterest. I like looking in Behance as well. So I always stay on top of what designers are doing. I also have an app from Google Chrome called Muesli. So it's Muzli, and then basically you can filter what type of news you see on Chrome, and it basically you can see like things like technology, design, art, and stuff like that. And every day when I open my Chrome, I have Muesli open. It opens automatically, and there's always loads of design inspiration, and it also has great resources in terms of like free UI kits, free Photoshop files, free mockups, amazing new fonts and stuff like that. So if I were you, I'd definitely look into Pinterest. Really, like, there's so much references on Pinterest. It's unbelievable, especially on Behance as well. So get yourself on Behance, get yourself on Pinterest, and also download that Muesli. But if you really want business orientated design, where you want to learn more about the business, then I look into The Future. Basically it's The Future without the E. So they're a really, really good design agency. They're called the design agency called Blind. And they are really, really good. They'll teach you a lot about the business of design. So they're my references. What references would you recommend?
Okay, to be honest with you, you pretty much hit it. It depends on what you're looking for as a designer, because or a creative, I should say, in a sense, because photographers can also do design as well as illustrators. So it depends on what you want. Behance is definitely a go-to. He said Pinterest, Dribble as well. If you add that to the mix. If you're an illustrator, ArtStation is really solid as well. But it all depends on what you want to learn and what you want to do. If you want to look at UI UX for websites, awards.com with 3 W's because of www. They're really solid as well when it comes to looking at unique ways to do UI UX. So those are some starter ones for sure. If you find some other ones, by all means, jump into the FGC designers chat.
Yeah, definitely jump onto the FGC Discord, the FGC designers Discord. There's loads of like really talented designers in there, and every day we post new artwork, and we always give each other really constructive feedback. It's probably one of the most wholesome channels I've ever been in. Like, everyone's just there to get better. Everyone wants to help each other improve. We really want to grow this platform. We really want to grow each other's designers. And so, yeah, definitely get yourselves on there, and don't be shy showing your work. And you only could get better if you show it. And if you get professional advice, that's another way to get better as well. So, yeah, all right.
You need a command in there so people can hit the link and just join.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we have one from Sophie K. This one goes out to both yourself and me as well. So how do you guys stay inspired? So I'm going to let you take this one first.
Yeah, again, it's similar to what I was saying before. To always be looking at other designs. Like, there are so many designers, even like, of course, there's a whole bunch of social designers and esports designers that I've seen. And I'm like, yo, that is amazing work. I really like that work. There's other designers and creatives that I've seen within the space that I might follow and look at, because inspiration from looking at others, for me, it motivates me to continue to work hard.
Definitely, I agree.
Because you see them and you go, bro, like, all right, I got to step up. Like, I can't fall off. And in this industry, it's easy to fall off. Things change every day, every year. And if you're not willing to change your style, learn new techniques, and build on top of your portfolio, you will fall behind pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's scary how fast technology is evolving. You look at mobile phones, they evolve constantly, right? So, like, especially when I'm a UI designer, I have to factor in all these different types of devices. like tablets and screen sizes and stuff like that. Like bloody hell, when I first designed for the iPhone 10, the one with the notch on it, it gave me a bloody headache. You know what I mean? But at least I know what to do now. But at the time, I didn't factor all these things in. So yeah, you have to stay on top of it. Especially when technology evolves. The world evolves. We have to evolve with it. That's how I have to stay inspired and motivated. And I say the channel really does keep me motivated as well. Seeing all you guys distributing some cool designs, it makes me feel like, you know what, I need to step it up as well. It's giving me that friendly competition in some way. Do you know what I mean? But like I like staying motivated that way. Okay, so the next question is by Oharcade. Is where's the ideal place to live to get into the esport design industry? LA or New York?
Honestly, it's gonna be LA. But I don't want to live in LA.
No.
So, there's nothing wrong with LA, but that is where most of the esports teams are, and at least close to them is a lot of the publishers, like of course Riot and Blizzard, Activision are also in California and LA. But technically, I mean, the beauty of what we do, you don't have to be in that city. But if you feel that building your portfolio or building your network is good, LA is definitely the place to do so because you can run into a lot of people. But I also prefer that if you're not looking to move, it's just really smart to go out to these esports events and find ways to speak to people. And you can start trying to like get a hold of certain people you might want to talk to on social media, especially like LinkedIn, where you have the opportunity to start a conversation. And from that conversation, hopefully look for do you mind if we meet up at this event that you're going to be at? Or I mean, there's E3. We had a lot of conversations and talks with people because everybody's there, right? So it's just the opportunity of knowing where to be at the right time and who to talk to and who can help promote you.
Cool. I can't answer that question because I don't live in the US, so I won't be able to tell you. Okay, but I would say London and Manchester are the two places in the UK if you really want to get into a job in design, because they are like two of the biggest cities at the moment in terms of tech. And I think a lot of London firms are now moving into Manchester due to the rent price being quite expensive in London, being the capital and all. And a lot of companies are now moving over to the north, which is like cheaper to rent. And there seems to be a massive growth in tech firms, a massive growth in design jobs as well. So yeah, if you were coming to the UK, then Manchester and London will be the two places to go if you were looking for a design job. Okay, so next question is from SPD Designs, the designer from Versus Fighting. So what kind of training and education did you have for your design career, and how do you think it has helped shape your identity as a designer?
Well, for me, I started off, luckily in high school, my high school had a design course. Like I was always into art. So the design course there was like, oh, a nice little intro, learn a little bit. Okay, I know I want to do something in art. I just found out I could do design on computers and stuff like that. I'm definitely gonna hit that. This is what I want to do. So I was kind of stuck in that. So for me, because hustle mentality is like, hey man, my family, we didn't have much, so I make the best out of what I got. And I'm like, hey, I know a lot of people that want mixtapes, or I know a lot of people that want flyers. So I was designing flyers and mixtapes and stuff for people at the low, but hey, I was doing something. Right. And it's like, hey, I need to get better. I need to get better. And so I started grinding on that. I did graduate and then go to college immediately after that. And for me, for the college I went to, I feel like, they taught you a little bit, but the thing that you learn more so is the business aspect of things and the reason why you do things. Which you could tell from a junior designer to a senior designer, that transition, right? Where I'm just designing because I like designing to I'm designing for a purpose.
Yes.
And so that was kind of more ingrained in me when I was in college. And then I worked for an agency for 3 years that was doing fun stuff like landscaping and real estate. And so it was good to learn that because, you know, you learn how to be corporate and how businesses with a lot of money deal with things and kind of how much they charge for stuff. But I really wanted to get into gaming and esports. So while I was freelancing there, as well, I mean, while I was working there as well as when I was in college, doing a whole bunch of freelance on top of working as a graphic designer for the student services at the school, I was like, all right, I'm gonna spend time working on esports. And so I started doing things that made me get more seen in esports. And that's how I built my career and got to the point where I am now.
That's awesome, man. I think mine is pretty similar to yours. Is you know, I've been educated in design as well. I went through college. I also did a foundation year in uni, but I felt it was a waste of time because it was called Art Foundation when I did mine. It was a very traditional art course. It did say graphic design was part of it, but it was very traditional. It was like a lot of painting, sculpture, textiles, and I was like, what the F did I just sign myself up for? You know what I mean? So I felt that was a waste of time. But then I went into university for my graphic design degree, graphic design and visual arts. And then after that, what I did was I ended up working for free for a few agencies. I actually went to a few agencies for portfolio assessment because I wanted advice on like how to improve my portfolio to suit a commercial environment. And I said this at the last podcast, when I had my first commercial viewing of my portfolio, I got roasted hard. You know, they're legit, because I had like a portfolio of like skateboards, like album covers, t-shirts and stuff like that. You know, like the agency just literally just said, your portfolio is not boring enough. That is literally what they said. Yeah, and then I was like, oh, what do you mean by that? And they said like, well, you know, these are like dream projects that you worked on, you know, whereas a real project, like a real client brief. And then that's where like I had to train myself to learn how to deal with clients and how to work a client brief, work under strict guidelines and stuff like that. And that these are something that you learn through time. It's not exactly something that can be taught, I don't think. You learn through experience. And I think it's just how much you want to learn. It's how much you want to put in. And I think for me, I just keep reading. I buy design books all the time. I go into like a bookstore. I can walk away with £100 worth of design books, which is really bad. So I end up not going to bookstores.
Well, now we have that. I mean, you have YouTube. You have Google.
Yeah. But I like having tangible, nice books as well, just to look at. And I'm quite a hoarder as well. I'm quite bad like that, man.
I have mine as well.
Yeah. So, just put in is what you want to get out. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I will have to say too on that same note. Like, I got lucky in the sense of, well, I mean, I worked for it, but I worked hard. Like, I look back at my design now, just like, ugh. Like there's some times when you look back at and you just like, I was promoting this. But it's the learning curve and the process of getting better and learning more and more and more. Like you can see my transition throughout the years if you look at like previous work to where I'm at now. But for me, it was hard grind. Like I said, I was in college. I was doing stuff for fraternities, sororities, student organizations. I went for an interview at a job in the campus to get a graphic design position.
All right. Okay.
Lost it. Went to another one, lost it, and then went back to the other one again later and got it. And
nice.
Because of like just they saw my progression. It's just like I was just working so much while doing. It's like, okay, cool. And when I went to the agency, I started off as an unpaid intern.
Yeah.
But I was like, yo, I'm not about to just do shit work while I'm here. So I was like, yo, I'm done with that other work. What's next? What's next? To the point where like, yo, we're just gonna pay you because we can't do any paid work unless we pay you and you actually do work because you want it. And I mean, that's kind of how it goes from there. And people notice it you're actually hungry and you actually want to get stuff done.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I would say is like I said this at the last podcast again, but I'll repeat again is that as designers, learn how to take constructive criticism as well. Like be ready if someone doesn't like your work, and be ready to take on board comments and stuff like that. Don't see it as like a failure on your part. See it as a way to improve. As steps to success, I would say. And if you can't take criticism, then I think there's going to be a very, very challenging road ahead of you. But like as I said, like when I first started out, I got roasted by a lot of agencies because my portfolio was not commercial enough. But I took on board all those comments and I made the portfolio suitable for all these other agencies. And then through that criticism, I learned how to improve my portfolio, and without it, I'd probably be stuck in my old ways. I'll still be doing all these fancy projects of like skateboards and all these amazing album covers and stuff. But now I know what agencies want to see. I know what in-house companies want to see. So you learn that through experience, and you learn that through criticism and constructive criticism. So it's important to listen, I would say, as a designer. Learn to listen. Don't always think that your designs is the final answer. It's always important to listen to what your clients have to say and what your potential job has to say, and then that will make you a better designer, and it makes you more approachable and more adaptable as well.
Understood.
Yeah.
That's a solid point. I didn't think about even talking about that, but yeah. You can't take constructive criticism.
Yeah,
you will be in a room of hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And
clients that will just straight up say, "Oh, this is shit."
Yeah.
If you want them, gotta be like, all right, why is it? You gotta learn how to take that conversation and make it constructive.
Yeah. Hurt is good. It makes you better. It makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So don't take it as always a bad thing. Hurt. It's like when you're playing a game of Tekken or Street Fighter. You lose, then you come back stronger. You know why you've lost, then you learn from it, and then you come back stronger. Right? It's the same principle in design. Yeah.
A failure is not a failure if you learn from it.
Exactly. Yes. Right. So let's see. So we have Neptune. He says, "Did you guys see the new Evil Geniuses logo?"
I didn't see it. That was recent. I need to. I know he.
I've seen it. Like, my thoughts on it is very quick on the rebrand. Like, their rebrand wasn't that long ago, and I was like, oh my god, they changed it again. It's crazy. I'm not saying the logo's bad. I say the logo's solid, really, really nice work. But I just wasn't sure. Like, that was very, very quick of them to all of a sudden rebrand again. So that was my thought on it.
Fair enough. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the emblem, I did feel like it was a missed opportunity to not have the emblem there.
Yeah.
Because everybody used to that. Like, that was iconic to EG.
Yeah.
Whole nother story that we could go to another time where it comes to should you or should you not rebrand and how to rebrand properly. Because you have to understand your audience. Like, for nursery gamers, it wasn't a problem to do a completely different shift, right? Because of what they needed and what they needed to go for. Evil Geniuses, they removing the iconic EG is what hurt the fans the most.
Yeah.
I think if you do that EG with the text, people would have been okay with it, the old school one. So it's understanding your audience and understanding sometimes you have to take baby steps with them. You can't just slap them in the face with something new.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I was gonna say, like, imagine Nike didn't have the swoosh anymore. It's kind of like that feeling, you know what I mean? Like, if Nike just removed the swoosh and just have a typographic Nike in a new font, I wonder how people receive that. And I think that was kind of the same reaction from the Evil Geniuses fans.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of examples of companies that did that and then lost millions of dollars. So
yeah.
It can be very testy. It could be a godsend, or it could be the worst thing ever. So you have to be careful about how you handle those.
I actually saw this meme not so long ago on LinkedIn, right? Like, all these fashion brands, like, I think it was like Dior or whatever you call it, all these like big fashion retailers, they used to use like serif fonts, like serif fonts, but then like they made a massive list And then now all these fashion brands use sans serif fonts now. You know, like the big capitals. Yeah, like tall sans serif fonts. I was like, oh my god, here we go. Yeah. Okay. What's that?
I would like to say no comment.
Okay, so we have Sky Tour Rush TV. He asked, I missed some part when it comes to commission work, how to rate your paid by hours and so on. Maybe a refresh, short summary. Any tips on that regard for incoming freelancer at the summer?
Again, I mean, we touched on this earlier. Again, something that I agree with is that for your work, you should definitely charge in a sense per hour. And I understand that scares a lot of clients. So stuff that we normally do is we understand how long it takes us to do a certain project. We charge a certain hourly rate to that and say, okay, if we're going to work on this logo, it's going to be $1,000 because it takes this, right?
Yeah.
And we charge it this hour. So it's $1,000 for this whole project. With that, you get, roughs, 2 revisions. Like for instance, if it's a logo, you'll get a rough of the logos, you'll get revisions, 2 revisions of those logos, and then you get the final files. And all of that is within that $1,000 range. Now, if we have to make more revisions or we have to make more roughs or we have to scrap and completely start over, then we can do that. But then that will be a separate charge. I'll either charge you per hour after that. So I'll let you know how long it takes and charge you per that hour. Or we'll start another full scope of work, which will be a new price that's set. So it's more about understanding your time frame, because what hurts is a lot of designers now say, hey, I'll do a logo for you, $50. And they start working on it and then they got to make changes and changes and changes. By the time you just 40 to 60 hours on this logo, think about that in terms of how much of that $50 are you making per hour now. Right? So you have to think about that when you come to how do you actually price yourself out and how do you make your money and charge yourself according to your time, because your time is valuable.
I normally, the way I normally do it, I charge an hourly rate myself, and I always say if I'm gonna do like for example like a banner or something, like a Twitter banner, then I say, well, I charge a minimum of 2 to 3 hours for that. No question. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will not do it for any lower, and then it's up to them whether they want to take it. Because at the end of the day, right, if it's going to take my time, and I give them a set price for like, I don't know, like $50 or something, like you say, then as you said, like, if I spend more hours on it, then it's more of a loss on my part than, you know what I mean? So which is why I do stress that it is important to track your time, which is the question that Neptune has asked. It's like how important it is to track your time. So yes, very important you track your time, how long you take on a project, and then that way.
Should, it's like, again, I use this as an idea because most people get it. Working out, right? If you want to get better and stronger, if you want to be a faster runner and all that stuff, you have to track your stuff, right? Like, okay, I'm in the gym and I'm trying to bench. I can bench, 200. Cool. How much can I do of that? All right. Now I'm gonna go the next day and try to do a little bit more and do a little bit more. It's good to know my progress and where my max is and where my limit is. So it's good for you to know as a designer, okay, how long does it take me typically to create a logo? How long does it take to actually make a social media graphic? Because then it tells me the value of that design, right? My logos are going to cost way more than my social media graphics, because I can crank those out in an hour or 2 or 3, right? So I'm gonna tell them, it's gonna be about 2-3 hours, so it's gonna be about this cost. If it goes past 3 hours, then I start charging you per hour for that. Or if my logos, I like to take my time because I want to research and make sure I'm giving you a good logo. So it's going to take me 40 hours minimum. If that's how you feel, right? So I'm going to charge you 40 hours, and then I'm gonna do my design work in that. And that's how much I charge you. So it's good to know your times, good to know your pace. It's not always great to be the fastest, because sometimes it's good to create something, even if you can't be fast, step away from it and come back. and be like, okay, what else could I do here, or what more could I do here, or should I even change this whole thing entirely? And then something that's really important: don't show a client something you don't like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
As soon as you do that, you're like, look, I created a really
You're in a
good
world of
logo.
hurt.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
created a really good logo, and I'm gonna create it. I created another logo that's like, eh.
yeah,
So I want to show them that I did more than one. I'm gonna
yeah,
put this in here and show them that I did 4 logos.
yeah.
They're 9 times out of 10 gonna pick the one you don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and also if you do 10 logos, right, make sure you only narrow it down to 3 or 4. 4 of your best ones. Do not
Yeah.
show all 10. You're gonna get a mishmash, and then it's gonna be something that you will not agree with, that you do not like. So always pick your best 3 or 4.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Trust me, we did like, here's 10 logos, and like, cool, I like this, and this. Could you like put them together, and could you like mash this? Like, oh,
a mashup. Yeah. Oh my god. I had that a few times. I learned the hard way though when I wanted to show like my efficiency, which is why I showed about 10 logos. Like, look how great I am. I've done 10 options for you.
yep.
Look at this. And they're like,
Great.
and I'm like there thinking they're gonna pick that one because I know that's the best one, and they like pick the worst one out of all of them, the worst one, and I was like, fuck you, man. Fuck you.
Every time.
Yeah.
Happen. Don't show them shit you don't want them to.
Yeah, exactly. We learned the hard way, so you guys don't have to. So yeah, take this as a lesson from most people.
You're not going to be comfortable with them using it. Just don't put it in the mix.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, and also this also brings to my point of portfolios. Do not put work in your portfolio that you do not feel comfortable talking about, because we can tell. People can tell whether you are proud of that work or not. If you're not proud of it and you don't like it, they're not gonna buy into it. They can smell it if you don't know how to explain it or you're not confident with it. If you're not confident with it, how can you expect the person that's viewing your portfolio to be confident with it? So never put anything that you don't like in it. So
Correct.
Another lesson there.
Oh, also on top of that, if you are working on your portfolio, say for instance you worked on a client and you didn't like the route that they went, you can always take that work, do it the way you want to, and put it in your portfolio that way. Like, the client that goes, hey, make this logo bigger. You go, it's not necessary, but that's what they want. Cool. I'm going to give you this work with the big ass logo. And then I'm going to downsize this logo the right way and put that in my portfolio that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's really good advice there, by the way. So I think a question that we missed out is like, how do you track your time? How do you track it, like, to make sure that you are working within the hours that you agreed?
Time log it. I mean, to be honest with you, this is what I do. I put all my time on my sheet and tell myself how long I've been working on what.
Yeah, diary, people, a diary. That's what I do. You know what I mean? Like, this is all my notes and stuff like that. This is how I track all my time. But this is all my client work.
Yeah.
Notebook, people. Notebook. Yeah.
Hey, on this day, I worked 7 hours on this piece. I worked 2 hours on that piece. And then at the end of it, I'm going to calculate, okay, it took me 8 hours to work on this homepage. It took me 2 hours to work on the about page. Like, you just got to do it, man. That's how it works for you.
Okay, so the next question is so Sky Tour Rush TV asked a very good question, by the way, which I think it's a very, very good question. If you're confident with it but don't like it, but it has been a success, so say like if you put something in your portfolio that is, you don't really like it, but it's been a great success, would you put that in?
Maybe. It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation, because I mean sometimes it might be successful but you aren't happy with it. So I think I have to go with what you said and not put it in there. Like, if you're not confident in talking about it, it's probably best not to just do that. Like, you'll show that, it went well, but I ain't like it like that. If you feel like there's something you could have did to make it better, again, it's your portfolio. Make that change. Put it in your portfolio the way you want to put it in your portfolio, and then talk about it. You don't have to show what the client wanted if you feel like what you wanted was better. So your portfolio is your product. It's what showcases you. It's
Yeah.
not what client gets. So that is all up to you.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Another thing I want to add to that is like there was a project that I worked on, a UX project, which I don't personally I thought it was a piece of shit. To be honest with you, it's a piece of shit work, but it made the company a
Yeah.
fuckload of money, and I was like, well, I'm gonna put that in anyways, just to show that I made the company money. You know, I wasn't very confident with it. Like I didn't like it. I thought it was a shit piece of work.
If you do that, you have the opportunity of saying, look, I've created this design and
Yeah,
it did.
yeah, it
So you
worked.
use it
Yeah,
for different. It's like it made this much money for the company,
yeah.
or it got this much exposure fan wise or interaction
Mhm,
wise.
mhm.
Like, then yes, but if you just have it, it was like it was okay,
Yeah, yeah,
and there was nothing beneficial about it. No, but if you have something that actually benefits your narrative, your story,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. And then sometimes I would show how I would do it better. Like, okay, like we learned that this works for the customer, it works for the user, it made the business a lot of money, but this is how I would have done it if I was able to iterate it further. So that's
Yeah,
another angle you could do. But yeah, I did put a piece of work in my portfolio which I thought was shit, but it was like it made the company money. So it did make me look good in some way because it's like businesses will see that, you know what I mean, like hey, ching ching. So there
you
you
know who
go.
you're talking. You know how to tailor your portfolio depending on who is interested.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the next question. Peggy asks, "Where is your coloring book?" So this is a guy that I work with in booking. He's like the tech lead in my product team. Like we make fun of each other all the time. Like he's head of the development team. So like I just say, "Oh, what do you do every day?" All you do is just type in shitty code, and he goes, "Well, what do? You just push pixels and color in every day." You know what I mean? So we just have that banter. You know what I mean? So he says, "Oh, I just get paid just to color in," and I just, well, you just get paid just to type in a load of bullshit, really. So that's the kind of banter I
Yeah,
have with my team, which is pretty funny.
we joke,
Oh
man.
yeah,
Designers are here. We just make magic, right? It just
yeah, yeah,
happens.
yeah. Like yeah, we
Sit,
can't live without developers.
wave of the mouse, and then bam, there you go. You got a great design.
Yeah. I have a question. Do you ever have you ever had like people from LinkedIn that like email you messages and sort of say, "Oh, we're looking for a graphic designer. You would be great with Adobe packages, but you also know HTML and Python and Java." Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you will be in charge of the style guide. You will be in charge of the code base. I literally just bin those kind of emails straight away. Like, are you looking for a designer or are you looking for a unicorn? You know what I mean?
yeah. Right.
What are you looking for? Like, I get those type of emails a lot. Like,
I get them
you should be
too.
one or the other. You should not be okay, great. If you are a designer that know how to code a bit, then great. But I rather be like, a master of, like be like, really
Yeah,
proficient at one thing than be a master of none. Do you know what I mean? Than a jack of all
understand.
trades. So I'd rather do one thing really, really well than to do a load of things like on the mediocre level. That's me
Yeah,
personally. But I don't know whether
I like that.
that's the same with you.
No, I do, and that's the
Yeah.
reason why again I pick designers that can do things that I cannot, right? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
the point. Is I don't need to be able to do everything, and everything shouldn't be on me. That defeats the purpose of a team. Defeats the purpose of us being able to do creative and fun things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's like, yeah, as a freelancer, that sucks, right? Because it's like it's just me.
Yeah.
Um, so either you have to do it solo, or you see if there's budget enough for you and another that you can work with
Mm-hmm.
to jump on the project with you. As an agency, for us, it's like, well, if that's what you want, then work with us, because for the same price that you're going to pay probably for that person, if they know all of that, is going to be like 100K. You could be paying us that, and you get our whole team.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it depends on the client. It depends on the situation. As a freelancer, yeah, no. As an agency, there's options. Usually, a lot of those people are full of crap, so uh, you probably don't want to work with them. But there are some that you could be like, hey, yeah, that's what we do. We provide those services,
Mm-hmm.
and we monthly retainer.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
So then the next question. Okay, we're gonna make it the last few questions, guys. So get your questions ready. Yeah, we'll make these the last few ones before we call it an end of the night. This one is from Sky Tour Rush TV. So he says, how often do you guys use target groups to test your products, like user testing, or what it is called? He's not native English. So basically, I think what he's asking is, do you test your products? Do you test your designs before you launch it live or anything like that? And how often do you do it?
It depends on what it is. So since now we're in the process of being able to potentially add some designs to in-game client, we do work with like that publisher to get someone, or like, of course, esports players, pros, to look at it and say, hey, you know what? I actually like this layout, or no, I don't play this way. This would be intrusive to me. We do a lot of research on that sense, because we want to make sure we're giving out a product that everybody wants to use, outside of even talking to someone who doesn't know anything about, say, for instance, a game, and saying, hey, if you saw this on a screen and you was in the middle of the game, what would you do, or what would you see? What does it say to you? So in a sense, we do for some projects, others not so much, because also you have to make sure you're paying attention to the community. And if you're paying attention to the community in the first place, say for instance, us working with OWL and CWL social media, like we know what that community likes social wise. We have to be studying that and paying attention to that and understanding the memes and the stuff that we have to give out, right? So it's more of researching behind the scenes and not really having a group that we go to. We just got to pay attention to what we have. So it depends on the scenario. It depends on what the product's for and what we need it to be used.
As I said, it depends on what I'm working on. For example, if I'm working on like a stream overlay for someone, then I don't really need to test it, because it's for that individual. But for something like, if I'm working in-house for like an in-house company, then we do something called A/B testing, or we do user surveys, where we basically we use like programs like User Zoom, or what's it called now, for users or something like that, where we basically send out remote testing. We send out prototypes for people to try out, and we gather the data from that, and then that'll inform us of what the next iteration of the design should be. That's how I normally test stuff in the business that I'm working in. But I don't really do much user testing in like my graphic design work, outside of work, because a lot of the clients I get are mainly for individuals than actually businesses, if that makes sense. So
there's also companies you can work with that also do that for you. It all depends on what you're looking for and what you're trying to achieve. I mean, it's all dependent on the product, the job, and what you need for. Because majority of the time, you should be paying attention to what you need to be doing anyway. That makes sense. Coming to you in the first place. But outside of that, when it becomes things that definitely you can't mess up on, like game UI or website UI, like sometimes you might want to get another insight where, I mean, I've done it before too, right? Where I've created something and I'm like, this is cool. And then someone who doesn't know anything goes, okay, so what am I supposed to do here? Like, this spot here. And you're like, it's obvious. It's like, I don't get it. You can't tell somebody what they're supposed to get.
Exactly. It's the users should inform you how the designs should be or how something should work. You know, that you should use that as data. If you ignore what users are saying, then you're gonna come into a lot of problems in the future, basically. So like I've worked with agencies that didn't care about their users. They just basically cared about what they feel is right, what they feel looks good, but it bombed with users. Like conversion was down, like they lost a lot of money because they moved certain pages or certain user journeys on their site. It was abysmal, and we had to spend spend some time fixing it and stuff like that. It is really important if you're working for like, a big company and stuff, then user testing is very beneficial, I would say. understanding your users, and also always look back on your research as well. Like if you're researching, the market, or researching your client or their users and stuff like that, always look back into that as well. So yeah, use that to inform your decisions. Okay. And I think that will leave it for tonight, really. So thank you very much for all the questions, viewers. If you got any more questions, by all means, drop me a DM. I'll definitely, I'll send them to Mark, and then Mark will answer them. Don't bombard them, people. So but yeah, don't bombard too much. But by all means, he's on join the Discord channel, everyone. If you guys wanna join the Discord channel, then I'll send you the link afterwards. But last but not least, thank you very much, and really appreciate your time, by the way.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you having me on. Like it was definitely fun. Like I said, I love this community, this industry, and I love seeing it grow. So whatever I can do to help, great. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man. And and that concludes our episode for tonight. And everyone, make sure you all stay safe. Don't go out. Don't mingle with so many people. Just try and stay safe and try and make it easier for everyone else. Okay, so and keep doing what you're doing. And see you guys at the FGC Discord. And the FGC Discord channel will be linked to you very, very shortly. I'll put that on the thank you page. So everyone, have a good night. Thank you very much, Mark.
Take care.
Take care. Thank you.